arguing the U.S. used to be in an agricultural trade surplus, but recently
was in deficit the last 2 years of the Biden administration and likely will take some time to recover. These are all serious indicators of an economic and national security emergency, and we can't ignore it.
Some members of Congress are pushing legislation that would require congressional approval for tariffs proposed by a president. President Trump has said he would veto that type of legislation if it made it to his desk.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz on Capitol Hill. The U.S. Supreme Court says thousands of federal workers do not need to be rehired by the Trump administration, at least not yet.
The Supreme Court is siding with the Trump administration, blocking a lower court's order for thousands of federal workers to be rehired. A district court judge in San Francisco ruled that about 16,000 probationary employees at 6 federal agencies must be reinstated. The Supreme Court is putting that decision on hold as an appeals court reviews the case. Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson noted their dissents. A separate lawsuit filed in Maryland has also blocked the firings of federal workers, but the ruling applies only to the 19 states that sued the administration.
Fox's Jared Halpern. There's a rally on Wall Street, not as big as earlier, though. The Dow's up 297. America is listening to Fox News.
Harbor Freight knows time is money, so for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 2,300 PSI electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point, so you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Tons of sunshine going through our Tuesday afternoon, but it is cool. It's below average and 55 for the high. Tonight, clouds, more and more clouds anyway, take over. Kind of a night of increasing clouds, 41. Wednesday, mostly cloudy. A lot of dry time, but some scattered showers and thunder showers late in the day on Wednesday. 65 scattered showers and thunder showers Wednesday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
President Trump has maximum negotiating leverage right here, right now. And I think it would be a mistake for anyone to think otherwise. And as I said, many of our trading partners, they have queued up and they have kept their cool. They have not escalated, and they will get priority in the queue. I think it was a big mistake, this Chinese escalation, because they're playing with a pair of twos. Traditionally, if you look at the history of the trade negotiations, we are the deficit country. So what do we lose by the Chinese raising tariffs on us? We export 1/5 to them of what they export to us. So that is a losing hand for them.
That's the least confident I think I've seen Treasury Secretary Bessent. He sounded like he had someone talking in his ear at the same time.
That's true, because he was pausing a lot.
Yeah, on CNBC. But right now, I mean, the stock market is up right now, 330 points. Has it been up? It's been up all day, right? Didn't it open 1,000 up or something like that?
I didn't see where it opened, but it's been, you know what? Looking at it, yes, it opened higher than it is now.
So, I mean, okay, here we go. We continue on this path of tariffs. And can I have that sheet back? Thanks. Thank you. Just need that one. Brad's not in today. He's got the day off. So Ethan is filling in. And I said that I think it would be good if we started the show off with a deep dive into tariffs with Ethan.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Ethan. 3, 2, 1, now.
Oh, God. So tariffs, it's kind of a funny sounding word.
The real question is 2 R's or 2 F's. I have to ask myself every single time I write it.
That's a real question.
It is. It's 2 F's, guys.
Is it 1 R?
Here's the way to remember that. It's 1 R, 2 F's.
Okay.
A lot of people feel 2 F's about tariffs, you know?
Yeah, or 3.
Yeah, just keep throwing them in there. Go on, Ethan. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we apologize.
Right, so what I know about
Remember
tariffs,
the plan.
Yeah, the plan. I remember the plan now. So what I know about tariffs, right, is here's the question. Are they going to work? We know that President Trump is trying to use them to basically get things out of other countries that he wants. You know, I know that the United States has had a lot of tariffs thrown at them for a long time now and have been treated, I guess you could say, a little bit unfairly in some of those tariffs. So President Trump, all that's happening right now is he's saying in order to, try and knock off some of this debt potentially, say, you know what, I'm going to throw some of those tariffs back at those countries and try to even things out a little bit. I loved the chart that he put out last week.
Yeah.
I thought it was also very satisfying to look at.
But you're a chart guy?
I am a chart guy.
I'm a graph guy, girl. I can be whatever I want.
Save. Be whatever. It's 2025.
I almost let that slip for a second. Had you all fooled. Most of you.
You should play men's sports.
We've had this conversation before, haven't we?
Which one?
If you could like beat them in certain sports, Ryan and Brad being them.
Yeah, I think I could.
Yeah. So not entirely like men's sports, but beating men.
I
sports.
honestly think that the possibility that I could beat Brad and Ryan in sports is 50-50, depends on the sport and depends on the day, but I don't know that I could beat you. And that's just because you're so much younger. I think that the age is what makes it possible that I could compete with the other two.
You're basically the same age as us. So it's there's not a huge age gap.
It's not the age gap between you and me, buddy. It's the age gap between you and Ethan that I am factoring in.
Ethan is also a larger guy. So he could get the rebounds.
What is that supposed to mean?
This is
he
radio.
could get the rebounds.
It's never right to, on the radio, confuse people about other people's stature.
That's true.
Exactly what you just did.
That's what Annie does every day. That's why she's laughing right now. She's like, oh, it's. She always calls me short. I don't know if you're aware that's a running joke, but I'm actually completely average height.
Totally 5'6".
It's not true. What am I, Ethan?
5'6" with inflation.
Ooh, I would say. Maybe with the tariffs you can get to like 5'8", but
no, that's not even true either. I'm 5'9.5".
5'9.5".
You know how I know? Growing up, my parents had one of those rulers in the furnace room.
But
I'd stand up against it every year on my birthday, and they'd write a mark.
Did
on
you
it.
ever measure the ruler to see if it was at the right place on the wall? Maybe they moved it up a little bit so that you'd feel good about yourself.
Yeah, when you were turning around.
I never measured the ruler against a plumb line ruler.
That's too bad.
I have been to the doctor many times.
And they say,
they
how
all
tall
say
are you?
the same thing.
They say, how tall are you? And you're like, I'm 6'2".
They say the same thing they did when I was 5 as they do now. Wow, you're a big guy, champ. Every time I go in.
Here's your lollipop.
They always say it.
Wait, your parents or the doctor?
The doctor. We've gotten off topic. Back to tariffs, Ethan.
Oh, where I talk again. So the tariffs are being used on goods, right, that are being created in the USA. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if the USA wants to send those products out, right, there's going to be a tariff that is based around. I don't know if it's based around the number that is that same country is tariffing the United States, but basically to try and.
They're supposed to be reciprocal tariffs. It's not supposed to be truly reciprocal because Donald Trump's a nice guy, right?
Yeah. And also, two things you were wrong about. First of all, tariffing isn't a verb.
Okay.
And
you know
second,
what?
my height. But back to you, Andy.
Don't give it back to me. I'm not ready. I want to move here to
address our
the press conference
crippling
taking
trade
place with
deficits.
Carolyn Levitt. Let's listen in.
America does not need other countries as much as other countries need us. And President Trump knows this. He's going to use the leverage of our markets and our country to the advantage of the people he was sworn in to represent. On the other hand, countries like China, who have chosen to retaliate and try to double down on their mistreatment of American workers, are making a mistake. President Trump has a spine of steel, and he will not break, and America will not break under his leadership. He is guided by a firm belief that America must be able to produce essential goods for our own people and export them to the rest of the world. A strong America cannot be solely dependent on foreign countries for our food, medicines, and critical minerals. And America must always maintain a robust defense supply chain. Reprioritizing and strengthening our manufacturing industry are essential national and economic security issues of the utmost importance to President Trump. By focusing on supercharging the onshoring of American manufacturing, the president is already delivering on his promise to usher in an economic golden age for our country. Just look at Friday's jobs report, which smashed expectations for the second straight month. The American economy added 228,000 jobs, nearly 100,000 more jobs than economists predicted, and the fourth highest month for private payroll growth in the past 2 years. There was also a sharp increase in transportation, construction, and warehousing employment. And in just 11 weeks, President Trump has secured more than $1.5 trillion in private sector investment. This is $500 billion more than Joe Biden secured in his entire term. This record-breaking private sector investment will create roughly 350,000 American jobs and counting. If you add up all of the investment pledges from foreign governments, President Trump has secured an incredible $5 trillion in total investments already. In the months ahead, President Trump's pro-growth economic agenda will be fully realized. The largest deregulatory effort in American history is underway. Unnecessary, burdensome, costly red tape is being eliminated by this entire federal government every day, driving down costs and massively boosting small businesses. So far, President Trump's deregulation effort has already saved Americans more than $180 billion, equivalent to $2,100 per family of 4. The president's drill baby drill energy agenda, which he will discuss later this evening in the East Room, is capitalizing on the abundance of natural resources under our feet to generate more affordable electricity, cheap gas, and quality new jobs. All of this will combine to end the Biden-imposed cost of living crisis that's absolutely crushed American families. Under President Trump, the American energy industry will lead the globe over the next century, delivering lower prices and significantly strengthening our country's economic position. At the president's direction, Republicans in Congress are working quickly to pass one big, beautiful bill, which will also include the largest tax cut in American history. As President Trump has said, the House must pass this budget resolution quickly. Here in our new media seat today, we have Jasmine Wright, the White House reporter for Notice. Notice is a nonprofit and nonpartisan news site which launched in early 2024. They've gained millions of readers across the country since. Newsroom's goal is both to inform readers and train the next generation of politics and policy journalists. They also partner with state newsrooms to give local communities more knowledge of what their representatives are doing in Washington, D.C. With that, please kick us off, Jasmine.
Thanks so much, Caroline. A couple questions for you. The first one being, can you explain the White House's evolution from this is not a negotiation on tariffs to countries should pitch us and start negotiations on tariffs?
As the president said yesterday, Jasmine, both things can be true at the same time. And it is a non-negotiable position that the United States has faced a national security and economic crisis because of the unfair trade practices by countries around the world. As for the president, I have maintained this position. The entire administration has always said that President Trump is willing to pick up the phone and talk. And the president met with his trade team this morning, and he directed them to have tailor-made trade deals with each and every country that calls up this administration to strike a deal. And listen, and each and every one of these trade deals should be tailored and unique based on that country's markets, based on that country's exports, the imports here in the United States of America. What makes the most sense for the American worker and for our industry? The president is focused on putting America first.
So was the evolution not factored in or determined by kind of the tumult in the stock market? Was that not a part of the consideration to start making these negotiations and deals?
Again, I would reject that there was an evolution. On day one, we had said that the president will always pick up the phone for other nations and other companies that call this administration. The president always has a listening ear, and it's a non-negotiable fact that America has faced a national security and economic crisis for many decades, and President Trump is just the first to address this.
And then my last question, how will negotiations change how much revenue the White House is planning to make from the tariffs?
Well, that has yet to be seen, but as the president said, the reciprocal tariffs, which will continue to go in effect as these deals are negotiated and ongoing, will generate trillions of dollars in revenue to the United States. And this is twofold. The president wants to onshore jobs here to the United States of America. He wants to boost our manufacturing industry. He also wants to tackle these crippling deficits with almost every single country around the world. Jackie.
Thanks, Caroline. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, warned that some of these negotiations might take up to months, that we could be doing this through April, May, and into June. And then you had Kevin Hassett say it's going to take a lot for the president to put his signature on the line because he wants to make sure there's a good deal for America. Is the president operating on any sort of a timeline or deadline where he wants this completed by?
Well, we always move at Trump speed here at the White House, which is incredibly fast. I know you all know that from covering this White House day to day. The president likes to get things done, but he's very much focused on ensuring that these deals are good for the American worker. They are good for American manufacturing, and again, that they tackle these crippling deficits with these countries. All options are on the table for each country, but again, these are going to be tailor-made deals. They are not going to be off-the-rack deals, as the president has called it, and he has directed his entire trade team to be part of this effort. So that includes Secretary Bessent and our National Economic Director, Kevin Hassett. It also includes Secretary Lutnick, Peter Navarro, the entire trade team, Jamison Greer, who was on the Hill today. Everybody who was involved in this incredible, fair, reciprocal trade agenda will continue to be involved in negotiating these deals.
And then yesterday, Goldman Sachs put out a research note. It put the odds of a recession at 45% within the next 12 months, up from 35%. But Peter Navarro guaranteed last night no recession. Does the president agree with him on that? I know that the president in the past has been leery of making definitive statements on that.
I can speak for the president, and I can speak for the optimism that he sees in our economy every day. Again, when you talk about the massive deregulatory efforts that are happening across the board, when you talk about how oil prices are down, gas prices are down, egg prices are down, we're cutting costs for the American worker, for the American consumer. We also see trillions of dollars of investments pouring into this country every day, and we're working hard now on the tariff side of the president's economic agenda. But don't forget, the next side of this is tax cuts, and we're counting on Capitol Hill to get those done, the largest tax cuts in history.
Does that mean that without those tax cuts coming through, that the likelihood of a recession is greater?
Nope, that's not what I said. I'm just saying be mindful of the whole of government economic approach that this administration is taking every day. Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. You just said that one of the reasons these tariffs are going into effect is that some countries have been ripping off the United States, but some of the tariffs target countries like Madagascar, Bangladesh, with very high levels of poverty. So can you explain how the president wants to correct the deficit with those countries? Is there a plan, for example, to onshore the textile industry that these countries are known because, and, just like, can you be specific about those low income?
Sure. Well, first of all, the reciprocal tariff rates that were implemented by country were focused on the monetary tariff that those countries have imposed on the United States, but also the non-monetary tariff barriers and the regulations, if you will, that have been put into effect over the years, making it harder for America to export to these countries. These were very carefully crafted numbers. There was also a 10% baseline tariff across the board, as well, as you know. Moving forward, the president will talk to any country that picks up the phone to call, and I can tell you the phones have been ringing off the hook, wanting to talk to this administration, this president, and his trade team to try to strike a deal. And it's because the world knows that they need the United States of America. They need our markets. They need our consumer. The president has a lot of leverage on his side because he has the best economy and the best country in the world that he leads, and he knows that. And it's about dang time we finally have a president who uses that economic leverage to benefit American workers. And that's what the president is trying to do. Maggie.
Caroline, thanks. Does the president endorse something that Howard Lutnick said on television this weekend, which was that the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to be moving to the U.S.? Is that how the president envisions manufacturing shifting? And if so, how long would that take, roughly?
The president wants to increase manufacturing jobs here in the United States of America, but he's also looking at advanced technologies. He's also looking at AI and emerging fields that are growing around the world that the United States needs to be a leader in as well. So there's an array of diverse jobs, more traditional manufacturing jobs, as you discussed, but also jobs in advanced technologies. The president is looking at all of those. He wants them to come back home.
But iPhones specifically, is that something that he thinks is the kind of technology that can move to the U.S.?
Absolutely. He believes we have the labor, we have the workforce, we have the resources to do it.
And so Carolyn Leavitt from the White House right now delivering a press conference. We're going to continue to monitor this press conference as it unfolds. A lot of questions about, it's interesting that the questions are kind of formulated more post-deal with each individual country than what is the president thinking. If you look at the stock market right now, because that was the peg to hang your hat on when this first happened, and we just watched the thing go into the tank, people were really trying to be panicky. But I said this on the show. We've talked about this. You knew going into this that Donald Trump said there's going to be a rough patch that we're going to have to go through in order to get where we need to be. He was aware of that, and he said it. He didn't paint it all as roses before he made the implementation on Liberation Day. And then we also said, we had a conversation on this show, and I guess it would have been maybe Wednesday, after the tariffs are implemented, no matter what happens, you know what the left is going to do. And if it gets anywhere close to being in the red, they're going to freak out and shake their fists at the sky and say, look what Donald Trump is trying to do. He's trying to we told you he was going to try to destroy America. They got to do that. We're almost a week into it, a couple days away from a week into it. And It's not the sky is falling territory at all at this point. Maybe it
No.
will be in a week. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's the thing, is that it's going to happen slower than a massive crash. But the thing is, Trump posted a video on Truth Social last week that was titled, "Trump is purposely crashing the market." So this isn't going to stop. Yes, he's going to do deals with people, but it's going to take time. He's probably going to slow walk it. He wants there to be a drop in the market. He said so.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. We're happy that you're with us. We're asking you today on the YouTube live chat poll to grade President Trump because, there's a lot of different questions we can ask about tariffs. There's a lot of questions we can ask about your 401ks. We've asked all those questions right now. I just want to know your general attitude towards the president. Most of you listening right now probably voted for Donald Trump. This is essentially asking you that question. Did you vote for this? So let us know how you think President Trump is doing. Maybe you're ready to give him the A+++. Maybe you think he's a failure. Maybe you're somewhere in that middle B/C passing grade, but not hitting it out of the park because you want to wait and see what happens. When you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, you're going to see this poll right there in the live chat of the live broadcast on YouTube. That's where you vote. We'd love to have you. Probably going to take phone calls on this in the 2 o'clock hour if we get 300 votes before then. So go give the president a grade. How do you think the man is doing? We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Point Pest Control. You find them online at pointwithanepestcontrol.com. I despise those little creepy ants that find their way into your home, especially kind of in the springtime where it's like you only see one, but the second you see one, you know that there are a bunch of others lurking somewhere and you got to look to find them. And isn't it weird how when you start to look to find them, you're like, oh my gosh, there are a whole bunch of them. You need Point Pest Control. They can help you with your ant problem. They can make sure that your home is ant-free. I know you're going to try to go immediately to the store and buy the quick remedies you can find off the shelf, and they'll take care of the business for about 24, 48 hours, and then that creepy little ant shows back up in your home, and you got to go through the whole process once again, spraying chemicals in your house, and don't do that. Call Point Pest Control and take care of the problem the right way the first time. 636-798-0023. I think it was yesterday, paid my quarterly service where they come out and spray my house. Folks, I don't have any bugs in my house. I've said this many times. I've got dirty kids. I've got dirty pets. And, you do everything you can to keep everything clean, but you're just coming in and out of the house all the time. In those situations, you're probably going to have bugs in your house. But we don't, because we have Point Pest Control. 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpets sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king
being to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Little Big Town is coming to our town July 25th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. And our show wants to send you to their show for free. Just listen to the Annie Fry Show for a chance to win every day this week. Little Big Town at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 25th.
Painted red, the stripe was white, it was 18 feet from the bow to the stern light.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
When he went there to get her, put on a shine, put on a motor, built out of love, made for the water. Ran her for years till her transom got rotten. A piece of my childhood that'll never be forgotten. It was just an old plywood boat with a 75 Johnson with electric choke. A young boy.
Step of convening this unprecedented hearing. We brought together both chambers of Congress, the Senate and the House, to conduct real oversight and to serve as a check and balance, to hold those who misuse power to account and to carry out our constitutional duty. Convening this hearing was not our first choice. We have tried to get our Republican colleagues to hold hearings, to do meaningful oversight, to assert Congress's authority as an independent branch of government. But to our great disappointment, our Republican colleagues have abdicated that important responsibility. They have stood by as the President has run roughshod over the legislative branch and turned Congress into little more than a rubber stamp. So today we'll hold the first of what we hope will be more bicameral oversight hearings. We will do the investigative work that our colleagues across the aisle refuse to do. We will expose the illegality, abuse, and corruption of this administration and within the Department of Justice. We will have brave witnesses speak to what's actually happening behind closed doors, how the Trump administration continues to try to intimidate them from speaking out, and why it matters to Americans across the country. The Trump administration is following a well-worn playbook. History serves as a guide and as a warning. In the 1930s, a Jewish lawyer in Berlin tracked in meticulous detail how Germany gradually became what he called a dual state. First, to keep the country running, the ordinary legal system remained in place for most people. And yet, step by step, a parallel system of governance and law emerged, what one scholar called a lawless zone.
All right. Do you know about this? Have you heard about this story, Ryan?
Yeah, I have.
How's it make you feel inside?
It's weird because when I hear what he says, if it weren't Adam Schiff saying it, I would say, that sounds pretty good. You know, a lot of the things that he's saying exist. It's true. It's just that he's a part of perpetuating them.
Here's Politico's article, just to summarize a little bit what Shifty Schiff is out there saying. A trial attorney who resigned in the wake of the Trump administration's decision to drop charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams will appear at an event Monday being organized by congressional Democrats, Senators, oh gosh, it's hard to say, Adam Schiff and Representative Jamie Raskin are orchestrating a so-called shadow hearing to question former Justice Department official Ryan Croswell, an attorney who resigned after the department moved to drop corruption charges against Adams. They'll also hear from Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney who said she was fired from the Trump Justice Department after she did not cooperate with efforts to restore actor Mel Gibson's gun rights, an issue on all of our minds.
What? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Rachel Cohen, a former Big Law associate who called on her firm to refuse to cooperate with the Trump administration, is also set to appear. With a minority in both chambers of Congress, Democrats do not have the power to hold their own committee hearings or subpoena witnesses, but they can hold mock hearings to publicly question people willing to cooperate with their requests. Well, at least they're doing something with their time.
Well, they're the shadow government, and they are embracing that label.
I was just going to say, I keep waiting to determine that they aren't calling themselves shadow government, but I think that they are. Is that right?
I don't know that they've come out and said we are the shadow government, but I know that Tim Walz has used that phrase, and this was popping up at about the same time as he used that phrase. So I think they've just kind of resigned themselves to being called that.
YouTube live chat poll for today is to grade President Trump A, B/C, D, or F. You know, when you think about President Trump's ability to come in a second term in a non-consecutive fashion with the flex of a Republican House and a Republican Senate, and you realize that the Democrats have had to relegate themselves to committee hearings that are not real committees and not real hearings. I mean, they can have public conversations, and maybe they will, if people want to publicly testify about things, you know, I don't know that they get to, do they get to administer an oath swearing when they do these things? I mean,
don't think so.
I don't really know. But this is what the Democrats have chosen to do. I can honestly kind of see the Republicans maybe doing something like this. This kind of smells like a Jim Jordan type of a situation where you were wanting to get to the bottom of, like, what would you say, Crossfire Hurricane or something like that. So you decide to have these conversations because you can't do it because the Democrats won't let you. You're like, fine, we're going to do it anyway. But the irony here is that the shadow government that existed in large part due to Adam Schiff's behavior and actions and choices when the Democrats had the majority and impeached Donald Trump twice, his behavior, which has now come to be known with Crossfire Hurricane, among other things, that first impeachment, the way he managed. Do you remember when Adam Schiff was like, if you would see the things that I've seen? Still waiting.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the man is a showman, for sure. He knows how to get attention. That's why he's a senator now.
That's all he knows how to do.
But he's really good at it. And that's why he's a senator now instead of a representative, is because he's able to get that attention from people who think he can move and shake things.
So they go to have these conversations, and it's it's like the circle of life, because you have Adam Schiff in the early days using the tentacles of a shadow government that he's pulling the strings on to try to affect the end of Donald Trump. And he is now, in 2025, in the minority, having to go play committee hearing in some side room where they can't actually make it official. And what they're doing is they're bringing into the public people who are canned by the Donald Trump administration for being shadow government.
It's amazing. The lack of irony is astonishing, because I've heard about this and I knew they were doing it, but I haven't paid close attention to it. So just listening to him sort of give the mission statement for what they're doing is bizarre, because he talks about, well, there's the normal government that keeps operating, and then there's this other government that was kind of created that was unaccountable. That's the one that we want to really go after. Dude, you're a part of that. Like, that is what the current administration is going after, and you're bringing those people a part of that as other form of government in to give them a spotlight.
And you watch, and it's important right now to pay attention to what the Democrat Party is choosing to do with their time. And I've said this before, and I'm not like 100% sure what the implementation is because I'm not the one who's there. But when you look at the Illinois Republicans who are in the super minority, I really kind of wish that they were just in the Capitol banging on pots and pans.
Yeah.
Cause a ruckus. Call out all of the absurdity, and they do that, but when there's too few of them, sometimes it doesn't cut through. You know, I do believe in working across the aisle when you believe in the outcome. I don't believe in working across the aisle when the outcome isn't something I would campaign on. So if the Democrats, you know, in federal government or in the Illinois state government or whatever, if the Democrats want to do something and you think to yourself, if this weren't a Democratic legislator telling me to do this, I'd be persuaded to hear more, or maybe even to support it. But like, I don't believe that if a Democrat says something that it is inherently wrong or evil or whatever. Like, I'm interested in listening, and I am absolutely interested in a compromise where the outcome puts you in a better position than you were before the discussion happened. Totally fine with that. The state of Illinois is in such great disarray that the Democrats don't even consider discussion with the Republicans on most major issues.
I don't hear them really even pretending to talk about those issues at all. Like the state's financial situation or the pension crisis. They just don't address it.
Who doesn't?
The Democrats.
No, they
don't address it at all.
No, what they decide to do is spend a lot of their time trying to work their way into your home so that they can manage your homeschool situation. And meanwhile, it's like Leslie Nielsen standing in front of a blowing up building going, please disperse, nothing to see here. You've got the entire public education system right behind you. And you're just like, do not pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Everything is fine. We do need to come make sure that you're homeschooling correctly. I asked the question of a state legislator just the other day, and I was told that the possibility exists in the way that they're wording this bill. I asked, is it possible with the Homeschool Act, which the Democrats are trying to push through the state legislature in Illinois, is it possible that when those people who are homeschooling their children in the state of Illinois now have to be registered with the state of Illinois and have to answer to and follow whatever regulations this bill actually ends up putting together, gives the state the ability to come in and inspect? Will homeschoolers have the ability to have firearms in their homes? This is 100% the type of bullcrap that the state of Illinois legislature will try to weave in here and say that if you're going to have these children in your home and you're going to homeschool them, that your rights to your firearms might be limited. It's possible. It's not written in there right now, but what's going to stop them from doing that? This is the type of broad overregulation you get from supermajorities of Democrats in the state of Illinois, but you get it from anywhere else. It's interesting that we have across the board, going back to Adam Schiff having his play committee hearing, where we have Republican House, Republican Senate, Republican President. Fantastic. Love it. Republicans would like to have more Republicans in the House, more Republicans in the Senate. But it really is pretty close to 50-50. It's just the 51%, not even in the House, lies in the hands of the Republicans right now. We are still a pretty divided government, and we're still a pretty divided country. And that can make us stronger because voices can be heard and voices have to be rational. I'm going to play in the 1 o'clock hour a little Jasmine Crockett for you guys. I know that you're always on the edge of your seat for more Jasmine Crockett. I
feel like we should just do whole hours where it's like this is a Jasmine Crockett hour again.
If we were working for the Republican Party, I could see that. But if we're trying to keep people listening, I don't know.
Maybe we switch back and forth. Is she part of the squad or not? She's not squad, is she?
I don't know why she wouldn't be.
Nobody has declared her squad.
I don't think squad is as popular as it used to be anymore.
I don't even know what the squad is.
Oh, gosh.
Let's do an hour on the squad, and then we'll do Jasmine Crockett.
Okay, show's booked up. Perfect. I will rebook the guests in the 1 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
And, we'll
just tell Andy McCarthy we're going to talk a little squad at 125 instead.
Sorry, Andy, we're doing squad.
Do you have anything to add? Yeah, he'll be
He'll
like,
understand.
this is important stuff that people need to know. Jim Carafano at 105, Andy McCarthy at 125, unless Ethan gives us a dissertation on squad and squad members. Probably not going to happen. And the YouTube live chat poll right now, grade President Trump, A, B/C, D, or F. We'll take phone calls in the 2 o'clock hour if we get to 300 votes. So get to the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry, F-R-E-Y. And we'll take your votes, your comments as well. Let us know how you think that President Trump is doing. Real quick here, Joe says, I went B/C because I believe in the direction we are moving, but you couldn't possibly grade the administration at this point. Joe, I bet you there are people who feel that you can. Betsy said, I'll go with an A, even though Vicky has a point, but also correct that it's not his fault. What is it that Vicky said? She said B/C, more towards C. I approve of everything he's doing, but at times it's chaotic. Not all his fault, though. Man, if you didn't know that it was going to be chaotic when Trump got in there, hold on tight. Well, we'll be right back with Wiggins America. A little buying advice.
Well, it's determining
Assessment.
in this marketplace, whether it be big buys or little buys, figuring out what kind of buyer you are psychologically.
What about Best Buys?
We could talk about that, too.
Wiggins America next. Don't go away.
Plywood boat, the 75 Johnson, with electric choke.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Make it wine, he'd say. You can't beat the way an old wood boat rides.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan, 314-324-4440. We had Stewie in here yesterday, and he really gave us the details on how he sees the Trump tariff situation, the markets, but also the mortgage industry, where he sees it going. If you missed it, make sure you check out the Annie Fry Show podcast, and he was in here at about 12:25 talking about all of that. It's a good time to lean into the possibility of a refinance on your mortgage. He was just very over the moon over how much rates had dropped. And he said if you had a mortgage that you've acquired in the last 3 years, now would be a really good time to consider a refinance. Annie, if I do a refinance, sometimes you pay too much to even enjoy the savings on those. Not with the Bagel Loan. Not with Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. When you call or text 314-324-4440, that's 314-324-4440, you can ask Stewie about how a Bagel Loan can help you. A Bagel Loan means you can buy with a new mortgage or refinance your home at $0 in closing costs. 314-324-4440. You can Google the Bagel Loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardy siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
We are going to give you a chance at Little Big Town tickets again in the 2 o'clock hour today. And also, if we get enough votes in this poll, we're going to take your calls on this topic. Grade President Trump, A, B/C, D, or F. That's the YouTube live chat poll.
We're like halfway there right now.
Oh,
We're
well.
over 150 votes.
Go
So
vote now, and we'll be talking about it on the air the whole show and with you in the 2 o'clock hour if you'd like to call in, apparently. That will happen then, so vote now. Grade President Trump in the YouTube live chat poll. Annie Fry on YouTube. 1247. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
97.1 FM Talk is proudly supporting the Guns N' Hoses Queen of Hearts raffle, benefiting the St. Louis Backstoppers. Learn more at stlgunsandhoses.com and listen to the Mark Cox Morning Show Fridays at 8:20 for winner announcements. Listening to The Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! All right, in the midst of all of this stock market upheaval, I wanted to look at the different ways that this is actually a sales technique from LinkedIn is what I found here. They categorize buyers.
I got a question real quick
Go
about
ahead.
LinkedIn. Can I? Do you mind?
Please.
How much on a scale of 0 to 10?
I think I know where this is
10
going.
being the most. How much are you a LinkedIn user / appreciator?
1? I mean, I'm on there.
Yeah.
But everybody's on there.
Ethan, are you on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn. And
Are you using it to wheel and deal?
I would say that I have used it a pretty adamant amount.
Really?
Early in my career. Yeah.
You are early in your career.
Yeah.
You still are there.
No,
and then you landed as the associate producer for the Annie Fry Show and Mark Ruin Show, and you're like, I've made it.
I'm done.
No, when I say that, I mean like when I look back in the past, like what, 6 months to a year, I haven't like posted as much as to where I used to be posting a lot. I feel like, okay, I'm doing this right now. I'm doing this. I broadcasted this game. I put highlights on there.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that. When I first got it, I was super excited about how many people I was connecting with because I was like, I'm connected with all these broadcasters and stuff. Now I have like probably 700 connections on LinkedIn.
Yeah. But I mean, that's good. I would imagine
That's what it's for.
one day I'll be really active on LinkedIn, and you'll have to follow me on YouTube. But anyway, on April 2nd, I think, was the first day that 97.1 was officially under. Maybe that was my start date for Entercom, which is now called Odyssey. So LinkedIn thinks I have a work anniversary right now. April 23rd will be officially the 7th year of Annie Fry Show and Middays, which blows my mind that we've been on here for 7 years. All of these people, I got people sending me congrats on your work anniversary that I'm 99.9% sure hate me. They don't know that they're sending it. They just it's just auto. It's auto greetings.
There's like a button that literally says "Say congratulations," and I think it'll send it.
But
on
I don't think
on its own.
I don't think some of these people know that they're telling me nice things.
Because you know that they don't like you in real life?
Pretty sure.
What do? Throw dog crap on your porch and stuff?
It's poop again. Anyway, I got on LinkedIn today because I was getting notifications that people were congratulating me on my Entercom/Odyssey work anniversary, which I was at 97.1 for 9 years before we came here. So I don't really think of it as anniversary, but it's just like I've not talked to these people for 10 years. They're really happy for me.
I had that happen to me on LinkedIn the other day where it was my Cardinals anniversary. I was like, oh, I don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
You started middays on 97.1.
April 23rd, 2018.
2018. Okay. Yeah, I started at 97.1 about 4 or 5 months after that.
You started in 2018 also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but not on your show right away.
And Brad started on Labor Day week of 2021.
Yes.
So my first day back from maternity leave with Molly, and I had been out of the office because my entire pregnancy plus COVID stay at home. We went home mid-March of 2020. I did not come back in the studio in person until the Tuesday after Labor Day 2021, and that happened to be Brad's first day too. In radio, ever.
That's true.
So we gave him the day off.
I've never asked you this question.
Oh boy.
When I was doing my interview here, I was walking through and we were all in that front conference room still, or you guys were. I wasn't working.
Oh yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Everybody had offices that were all over the place.
Not us. We had tables.
That's what I mean. No, it was just chaos.
Well, we had also just come together as two companies because CBS Radio was bought by Entercom, and then half of Emmis was bought by Entercom. So we had all of these people coming in together. It was
so it's trying to figure out where to put everybody, and you guys are just at these random spots. Well, the general manager at the time walked me through and said, "This is Annie Fry," and this was probably September of 2018. And I said, "Oh, Annie Fry, a big fan," which was true.
That's since changed.
Was that the first time anybody had said, "Oh, big fan"? Because it wasn't that long. It had been like just a few months since you had started middays.
I'll have to check my ledger.
Oh,
of
you have to
compliments.
remember that. That's a moment. The first time somebody tells you they're a fan.
You think?
I was hoping I was the first one.
You just said to me that you meeting me for the first time would be a moment
memorable for you
in my life. I love how this story of you meeting me, because you're a big fan, was obviously.
I want to know if it was as big for you.
I mean, I actually wrote about it in my diary.
Did you?
Yes.
Can you bring that page in?
I will find it.
Okay. Is it written in flowers?
No.
What
does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know what girls do.
It's written in blood.
That's what Carrie does.
Buyer?
Oh, you want to do that, huh?
Not really, but.
Got 3 minutes.
Well,
I'm so distracted now from remembering that moment in my life.
Oh, yeah, she's all flustered.
She wrote in flowers or blood.
Yeah, she wrote in flowers.
Blood flowers.
Big fan.
All right.
I have to ask Katie. Katie was the
here.
producer at that time. I'm going to have to ask her if she remembers.
You know what's it's sad is I remember meeting her and being like, "Oh, hi, Katie," and then I met you. I was like, "Oh, Annie, big fan," and I felt like I just brushed her off completely, and I have always
she
felt
would
bad.
have put you in your
Life
place.
of a producer.
Yeah. All right. What kind of buyer are you? I'm going to say the 4, and then I'll give you the definitions. But tell me if one of these stands out to you. Are you competitive buyer? Are you spontaneous? Are you humanistic? Or are you methodical? Those are the 4.
I'm going to say I'm only not one of those.
Humanistic?
That'd be the one. I don't know what it means, though.
You're
so.
spontaneous?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that about you.
Yes, but methodically.
Methodically spontaneous. Okay.
I'm always shopping. Always shopping. Always assessing what things are costing. Like if I know if I'm going to have to acquire something in the next 5 years, I'm shopping for it, and you could ask my husband. I'll be like, I want to buy something, and he'll be like, oh boy, what? Because he knows that it could cost $5, it could cost $5,000. But if you find something that is a $7,000 product, but there's a really good sale on it, and you're just waiting for your water heater to go out, and it's a Memorial Day sale or something like that, then we might start the day with no intention whatsoever to buy a water heater, and he'll be installing it that night. So that's kind of spontaneous, but in my method.
I don't know.
Spontaneous
to the definition. That's not. I don't think that is spontaneous.
I am a human. So we'll check that box.
That checks out too.
What does humanistic mean?
I don't know if you're a human.
Describe them.
All right. The first one is competitive. The competitive persona is decisive and results driven. They always seek proof that you're better than your competitors and can swiftly solve their problems. So they want to know that they are getting the best of the best, even if that means it's a great deal. But they want to know that
the best quality or the best value?
Whatever is important to that buyer.
Okay. Yeah, that
they're getting the best of it.
Yes. Definitely.
Me too. 100%. In fact, that's why a lot of times I'll buy something that's on sale, even if I don't need that thing, because I'm stupid.
Well, I don't do that.
You agree with the last part of that sentence.
About you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, actually I do. But you agree with it. So.
I said it. The spontaneous persona.
I think you prioritize in your purchasing value over every other factor.
I used to.
Like sensibility.
I value time more than I used to. If I know that it's something that's going to cost me time down the road, I don't do that as much as I used to. The spontaneous persona is impulsive. It's just what you'd think. Seeking instant gratification and ease with a simple, quick purchasing process.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
I'm not really that way. I guess if it's a deal, but that's not what my motivation is. It's like that gratification is your motivation. The next one is humanistic. This is the one we were all waiting for, isn't it? This one is probably more like Ethan. The humanistic persona, I'm just trying to draw you in, Ethan, makes purchase decisions based on emotional connections and the establishment of relationships. Would you say that that's you?
You have entirely encompassed me in the last 20 seconds, Ryan Wiggins. That is me.
I'm not this. That is a part of my...
I wish I knew an example of what that was.
Well, let's see. Highlighting people's stories related to the products and, how you went about things, your story of your business.
What's the last one?
The last one is the methodical persona. This is you. And it's me to an extent. The methodical persona values meticulous details, organization, and clear evidence of benefits.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That is you. I knew that was you.
Yes.
I just didn't know if the other ones would be too.
Color-coded spreadsheet, anybody? I have them for all sorts of fun things. All right, let's talk to Jim Carafano and Andy McCarthy in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll be right back.
Homeowners, spring is here, and there's no better time to sell your St. Louis home. But the agent you choose matters. Who should you call? My friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Hey, it's Mark Cox. Here's why Gloria should be your first call. While the average realtor puts a sign in your yard and hopes it sells, Gloria will guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. In this market, you don't want to risk working with someone who doesn't have the guarantees, buyers, or experience to help you sell within your time frame and for the most money. Many realtors will overprice your home to get your business, which can lead to your home sitting on the market with little or no offers and price reductions. If you want to sell your home for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference, call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt. Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25 plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Time's up for China. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Beijing missed a deadline today to drop a retaliatory tariff on U.S. goods.
It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder.
So White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt says higher tariffs totaling 104% will hit China tomorrow as reciprocal tariffs on many countries kick in. Though Leavitt also says President Trump believes China wants to make a deal. Other countries already reaching out.
The president will talk to any country that picks up the phone to call, and I can tell you the phones have been ringing off the hook, wanting to talk to this administration, this president, and his trade team to try to strike a deal.
Leavitt says the president has a lot of leverage from the U.S. economy, but Democrats keep pushing back, arguing the president is going too far with the effort to address trade imbalances. A Senate hearing getting heated as Virginia Senator Mark Warner questioned U.S. Trade Representative Jamison Greer.
Ambassador Greer, answer the question on Australia. We have a trade surplus with Australia. We have a free trade agreement. Why? They are an incredibly important national security partner. Why were they whacked with a tariff?
Senator, despite the agreement, they ban our beef, they ban our pork, they're getting ready to impose measures on our digital companies.
Oregon Democratic Senator Ron Wyden is proposing anti-tariff resolution he says has some bipartisan support. Another bill the president says he would veto aims to require congressional approval for tariffs proposed by a president. The Dow has been higher, but an earlier 1,000-point rally has cooled. The White House just confirming President Trump will meet with Republican lawmakers today as the House considers a budget blueprint passed by the Senate. Some House Republicans want more spending cuts, concerned in part about covering the cost of trillions in tax cuts. America is listening to Fox News.
Harbor Freight knows time is money, so for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 2,300 PSI electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point, so you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Tons of sunshine going through our Tuesday afternoon, but it is cool. It's below average and 55 for the high. Tonight, clouds, more and more clouds anyway, take over. Kind of a night of increasing clouds, 41. Wednesday, mostly cloudy. A lot of dry time, but some scattered showers and thunder showers late in the day on Wednesday. 65, scattered showers and thunder showers Wednesday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me. I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around the store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches of my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a good feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and it might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. It's what I would put in my home. It's what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. Injured by a careless driver? We work with the top doctors in St. Louis. We'll help you get the expert medical care you need and the maximum amount of money you deserve. Call 314-500-5000.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Well, there is a way you can find out how to make your money go a lot further in retirement. It's a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. And it's a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects, and they have decades of financial planning experience. Now, they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis, and you'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, and more. This is Sue Thomas, and you can go for free, but they ask that you bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are a handful of openings for classes this month and next, so just register. You just have to call 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. The number again, 314-947-2012.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is the Post-Dispatch Window Retailer of the Year, J.D. Power Award winner 5 years in a row, and has the nation's best warranty coverage? Renewal by Andersen, that's who. Take advantage of our great April sale. Buy one window, entry door, or patio door, and get the next 50% off with 0 payments and 0 interest for 12 months. Check it out at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
The Foley Foundation works tirelessly to bring American hostages home. Kim St. here. We're raising awareness about the Foley Foundation's mission to reunite families, hold captors accountable, and prevent future hostage taking. Visit 971talk.com/events to learn more.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
This is a landmark victory for the rule of law. And this is what we've been arguing on behalf of President Trump from day one. These are enemies of our state, of our country, and they should be deported. And what the judge ruled was going forward, from this day forward, all those planes that are gone are there. Those people are staying. So there are a lot of reasons why Americans are safer. From this point forward, The hearing will be held, it's a habeas hearing, in the court of confinement, which means in Texas.
Yeah.
So it will be a much faster hearing. They can't do class actions. It will be a much smoother, simpler hearing, and these people will be deported. Americans are safer, and domestic terrorists, foreign terrorists, you better look out because we're coming after you. I'd start self-deporting if I were you, because we're going to find you.
Attorney General Pam Bondi pointing out some of the victories they've had in their efforts to deport the baddest of the bad guys who have come here and because of our open border policies. And I find it interesting that the greatest efforts the Democrats are trying to use when it comes to protecting our country from illegal immigration is against the Republicans who now have the administrative ability of the Oval Office. There seems to be a lot of legal warfare pushing back against what the Republicans are trying to do now that they have power. But it looks as though the Trump administration has won the latest battle. Let's get to our friend Jim Carafano, senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, so great to have you back. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, so we should unpack, what does the term rule of law mean? And it simply means that you apply the law equally to everybody. It's not like Animal Farm, where all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. And so when we were appalled with all this government spending where we're giving millions of dollars to NGOs, which just happen to be run by the daughter of a former president, and the money actually never benefits anybody except the NGO itself. And we said, well, that's not right. That's not how we should be spending federal money. It's not to enrich some people at the expense of others, and not to use tax dollars for the purpose of the business of the American people, which is what they're there for. This is probably one of the most egregious examples of the abuse of rule of law by the left, and it's clearly political. So we are going judge shopping. We're getting leftist judges to do something that these judges know clearly is not lawful, which is the idea that you're going to take, it's like refugee shopping, right? If I get it's like, remember your parents, if you went to your mom and said, "Mom, can I?" and they go, "No," and so you go to your dad. If dad says no, then you call your grandparents, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine in the family, but in the rule of law is very clear on this. If there are courts of jurisdiction, and if you go to the court of jurisdiction, that is the law. It should be applied equally to everybody. And so when you basically have a political movement, basically hand shopping a judge to get the judgment you want, clearly knowing that that judge does not even have jurisdiction in this matter, that is a clear abuse. So what's going on here is this term lawfare is absolutely accurate. They're basically using the law against the people trying to enforce the law. And it is the absolute definition of the violation of the rule of law. We should all be treated equally under the law, period, end of statement. Yeah. And they don't believe that. They believe that the law should do what they want done.
We're speaking with Jim Carafano right now, and I find it intriguing, on this particular issue with immigration and border security with the Trump administration coming in, but a whole host of other issues as well. They knew that they were going to be up against it in the courts, and a lot of times the obstacle of the courts are there to try to get people to not even try to do these types of things, but it doesn't seem as though it's hindered the Trump administration. They seem as though they've been full steam ahead. Do you feel like the mechanisms and sometimes the out-of-the-box thinking that they're using right now, is that the right method to get the job done?
Well, absolutely, because our frustration with how the hell could Biden let millions of people in the country, I would say for 70% of them, the law let him do that because the law gives enormous discretion to the president of the United States, whose job it is to make sure we get the people in the country we want and we keep out the people in the country that we don't want. So we give enormous power to the executive authority to enforce immigration law. Well, it works both ways. You can either do it the way Biden did, which is essentially say, I'm going to turn a blind eye to everything. Or you can do it the way, Trump did, which is I'm going to enforce the letter of the law. It's like when, there's a speeding zone and, some cops, a couple of miles, I don't care. But other cops say, no, if you're 1 mile over, I'm going to give you a ticket. And so Trump is using Trump is using the law exactly as it is defined to be used, to give the authority to the president. And let's be honest, when you have millions of people here illegally that are costing us tens of billions of dollars, that are creating massive security risks, that are leading to increased crime rates, the president cracking down, that is a smart thing to do.
Jim Carafano speaking with us right now. I'm going to kind of tie these two things together because you've been telling us for quite some time that the enemies across the world, the people who hate us the most, have been able to get into our country because of these open border policies. We heard yesterday, it's kind of a footnote, but it might have been one of the biggest things that we heard between the press and the Oval Office meeting with President Trump and Netanyahu being in there, where he said that they were having conversations with Iran. We know that Iran and the United States have been at odds, which is like probably the least accurate way of putting it. What is the conversation taking place right now between the United States and Iran, and how close of an issue is it for us on our homeland?
Well, I mean, this is just me being me. I think it's going to amount to nothing, and here's why. First of all, this is part of the way Trump does business. He, with the exception of terrorists who he just likes to kill, he always offers adversaries an off-ramp. He says, we don't have to do this. If you don't want to mess with my stuff, I won't mess with your stuff, and we can both go our own way. And so he's done this. He's done it with the Russians in Ukraine. He did it with North Korea, which is he puts a deal on the table. But the Trump deal with Iran is going to require that Iran give up its nuclear weapons program. I just have no faith they're going to do that. Trump's going to offer the deal because he always puts the deal on the table. But I think nothing's going to come of this. I think what's going to happen is the Ukrainians are going to hunker down, and they're going to wait 3 years till Trump's out of office, and then hopefully they get somebody easier. The Iranians, hunker down and wait 3 years till Trump's out of office, and then they'll go after, hopefully things will be better. But I don't think they're going to do a deal in the end.
Is Iran, and they have all of these proxy terrorist groups that we see all over the Middle East. Do they have an interest in being here in America?
Well, yeah, because Iran, China, and Russia all have one thing in common, is that they see the way they advance their power and interest in the world is to diminish the United States. So they're all over the Western Hemisphere. There's a huge Iranian military presence in Bolivia. Are they there because they like Bolivians? No, they're there because they think they can use it to get at the United States. So, and they're never going to stop being bad guys. I mean, the Russians are never going to stop, poisoning people's tea and supporting transnational crime. It's how they survive. They're mafias. So Iran's just another mafia that we have to worry about.
We're speaking with Jim Carafano with the Heritage Foundation. I'm curious of your thoughts on the global, the foreign policy relationship, fallout or benefit to Donald Trump's tariff implementation.
Well, I think it remains to be seen. As I said, Trump is very impatient by nature. He's only a one-term president. He put this team together, and he really wants to address the things that Biden screwed up in the last 2 years. And one is security. The United States can't be decisive in any theater. Even if we rebuild the military, we really need friends and allies to step up and do more in their own defense. So he beats the hell out of them, saying, you guys got to get with the program. But the other is growth. He is desperate to drive growth because growth is vital for the American economy. And so he's pretty fearless in being disruptive to do that. So, I think 99% of the hysteria about tariffs is political, and very little has to do with the structural economy. I talk to business leaders all over the world. They're not sweating the tariffs. I mean, they're just saying, okay, like Amazon, well, we just filled the stock. We just filled the warehouses full of stock, and we'll just wait this out. So it's not the business community that's freaking out. It's the political community that's having a big issue about this. But Trump's driving it because the system's not working, whether it's the World Trade Organization or these trade deals. They're not delivering the Green New Deal. It's not delivering on growth. And so I got to break these things and get people focused on the things that are going to drive growth in the economy. And he's just very anxious to do that. And this is the blunt instrument he's chosen to beat us all up over the head with. I mean, is it going to work? I don't know. But When 70 countries line up to renegotiate trade deals with the U.S., you kind of think he's on to something, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And, I continue to hear that bell ringing of China. And, it's like all roads lead back to China. And we talk about Iran as a scary nuclear enemy potentially is what we're trying to avoid. We talk about the Middle East and Ukraine and Russia and everything. But everything always comes back to China as like the overlord of all of it. How much is this pushback going to keep China at bay if the trade deals end up getting leveled out a bit?
Well, China's economy is weak, and I think that this is only going to make it weaker, and that's going to make them less powerful and hence less of a threat to the United States. I said, look, for 99% of Americans, and if you're in the market or you have a portfolio or a 401k or whatever, 90% of your life right now is, do you have a job? Are your real wages growing? Is inflation down? And are prices under control? And so the 99% of the economy, granted, okay, you might stocks in the future, or buy something else, but to live day to day and support your family, it's your job, it's prices, and it's inflation. And if those things are doing okay, and right now job growth is good, inflation has come down, core prices are coming down. The economy is working for Americans right now, and the market will take care of the market. So I think we as Americans are in a good place, and I don't think you can say that in China. The Chinese economy is not in a good place, and they're not doing runaway growth, and they aren't structurally prepared to compete with the United States. So, and honestly, the less business we do with China, actually, the more likely we are to get along with China. It's when you're economically dependent on each other and you're poking each other in the. The reason why we got through the Cold War so easily was because we didn't do any business with the Soviet Union, so we could face off against each other and throw rocks, but our economies weren't intertwined, so there wasn't that friction that. So I think doing less business with China is actually healthy for both sides.
That's an interesting take. I appreciate it. Jim Carafano, so good to have you back. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hopefully I'll be back next week, even though I won't actually be here. But
you're never where you were the next week, where you were the last week. That's one thing we know. Where in the world is Jim Carafano? It could be anywhere.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Good talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Senior Counselor to the President and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation, Jim Carafano, truly a traveling man, and we're very grateful to have him back on with us today. Andy McCarthy is going to be with us next. We have a Supreme Court ruling giving the Trump administration quite a victory here, and the immigration situation with the Trump administration. We're talking to Jim Carafano there about the things that Donald Trump has been willing to do in order to try to enact this policy of deporting the bad guys. Andy McCarthy hasn't always been 100% supportive of Donald Trump's mechanisms to get the job done, but I want to get his thoughts when we come back on the Supreme Court ruling and where the administration needs to go next to continue to complete their goal of removing the bad guys from the United States and getting them elsewhere, getting them the heck out. We'll talk to Andy McCarthy on the Annie Fry Show next.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Dittamore Group online at thedittamore.com. If you are looking to buy a home, if you're looking to sell your home, if you're not even sure yet if you can do the juggling thing, because usually if you're selling your home, you're going to buy something somewhere. You want to make sure you work with experts. You're not going to mess around with this. It's a huge, huge deal to sell your home for the top dollar that you can get. And if you're buying a home, it's a huge, huge deal to make sure that what you're paying is the right amount, that it's a good value and for the quality of the home you're looking for. You need the experts experts at the Dittamore Group, Tammy, Zach, Pat, Abby, and Trisha, they make up the #1 team in the #1 office in the Metro East. So if you want to have the benefit of 50-plus years of experience at your behest when you're looking to participate in the real estate market, you want the Dittamore Group. It's pretty much that simple. You can find them online at thedittamore.com, but you can also call them directly. 618-531-4652. 618-531-4652. Call the Dittamore Group and tell them Annie sent you online at thedittamore.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Tuesday afternoon, he's a national treasure, but he had his humble beginnings on The Mark Reardon Show, and Scott Jennings will join us once again Tuesday afternoon. Also, it's Telephone Tuesday. That means calls in the 4 o'clock hour.
The Mark Reardon Show, weekdays from 3 to 6.
I hear a lot about sinners.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Cause the way that the sky opens up when we touch it, it's making me say that the way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We thank you for being with us today. We want you to go to the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll and give President Trump a grade so far. A lot of people with a lot of hot opinions right now about everything that's going on, so you can join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel to do that. We just wrapped up a conversation with Jim Carafano from the Heritage Foundation about the immigration efforts that the president has made to try to deport people, to take the worst of the worst, put them on a plane, send them to El Salvador and prisons. And we have a lot of legal questions surrounding that. The Supreme Court has just made another ruling on that. And we're not legal experts, so we go to our favorite legal experts to break it down for us. Andy McCarthy back on the Annie Fry Show, contributing editor at National Review, also the host of the McCarthy Report and a Fox News contributor. Andy, welcome back to the show. Thanks for being with us today.
Annie, great to be with you.
What can you tell us about the Supreme Court ruling on the deportations of these alleged gang members to these El Salvadoran prisons? What's the latest update on that?
Well, the court issued a ruling last night that was widely described as a 5-4 ruling. I actually think it was 9-0 on the important thing, which was the question of due process of law. Everybody on the court held that the aliens that we're talking about are entitled to their day in court. Now, it's important because of the climate out there, Annie, that I stress what I mean by this. It means that they get to go to court, just like the people I used to prosecute went to court. Doesn't mean they get to win. I think in the end, Trump is still going to be able to send most of these people to some form of detention. I think the detention that they've chosen in El Salvador is problematic on a number of in a number of ways, but that's a kind of a down the road issue. The first order issue is, can you do this? And the answer is yes, but you have to give them notice before you put them on a plane and send them to a third country, and an opportunity to present their objection to it, mainly to object to the finding that they are members of Tren de Aragua or MS-13. Where the court was divided 5-4 is what form the lawsuit has to take. What the majority ended up finding was that the suit has to be brought in habeas corpus, which essentially means you have to bring the suit in the place where the person is detained. And in this instance, that would have been the Southern District of Texas. The other side, the four justices who went the other way, sided with Judge Boasberg and with the panel of the District of Columbia Circuit, which included two Republican appointees, by the way, that you could bring the action under the Administrative Procedure Act, which means they could file their lawsuit in Washington and join all of the aliens together. It looks now like they'll have to bring individual lawsuits in the places where they're detained, but the bottom line is still the same. They have due process rights. It's just a matter of what's the technical form of the lawsuit.
Okay. Andy McCarthy with us right now. Not being a legal mind and always being grateful that we get to borrow yours for 10 minutes or so. I'm always trying to comb out the tangles of these legal situations. I'm glad you explained the habeas corpus thing, because I've heard habeas probably a dozen times today without an explanation that follows. And so I appreciate that bold-faced definition there while you're describing that. Would it have been different in your mind if Donald Trump would have done what he have done but detained them in the United States?
It would have been different in the sense that the big practical problem, of course, is once you take people out of the United States, they're beyond the writ of the federal courts. So, a federal judge doesn't have any power to tell the government of El Salvador to do anything. So if you've successfully gotten them out of the country, this is an issue that came up a lot after 9/11 when our military actions took place. And in fact, when the Bush administration decided to use Guantanamo Bay as a detention camp, one of the reasons it did that was because there was a lot of case law for the proposition that that was in Cuban sovereignty and outside the jurisdiction of the courts. The courts ended up saying that because the government had de facto jurisdiction over Gitmo, the people who were captured there could challenge their detention in the federal courts. And I think similarly, the courts are going to end up finding that because the Trump administration's arrangement with El Salvador is that in a year's time, our government will decide what happens to these prisoners, I think the courts will say we still have control over them, and therefore the litigation can be brought here. But I don't mean to give a long-winded lawyer's answer to your question.
No, please.
To give a pointed answer to your question, if Trump had basically scooped people up and put them all, say, in one city or state in the United States, there would still be questions about whether he could do that. But it wouldn't be a big deal because the federal courts would be operating wherever he brought them, so they could bring whatever challenges, including habeas corpus, that were appropriate under the circumstances. The thing is, if you take them out of the country, and particularly if you take them out of the country in a way that you lose control over them, what happens then? Because then a court really doesn't have any authority to tell a third country what to do.
We're speaking with Andy McCarthy, former Chief Assistant United States Attorney, contributing editor at National Review and Fox News contributor. So Andy, we know what happened when Trump sent off this first plane and sent it to El Salvador. The next go-around, the next flight of people that he wants to amass, what is going to be different now the next time he wants to do this compared to this last time?
Well, Annie, it's always going to depend on what is the authority he's citing for being able to do it. So, for example, I think they sent 261 people in one fell swoop, right? But not all 261 were sent for the same reason. So the first two planes, as I understand it, that went had a lot or maybe all of these Venezuelan aliens who he was citing as alien enemies under the 1798 Alien Enemy Act. And those people have a right to challenge in court whether they are properly designated as alien enemies, which for our purposes really means, are they really members of Tren de Aragua? Then there was a third plane where what the administration says is those are people who were processed under the ordinary immigration laws. And what that means is if they were, for example, if they were illegal aliens and they claimed, they made an asylum claim, and it turned out that they didn't prove that they had a legitimate fear of persecution, they can be deported. There's an order of removal that gets ordered by the immigration court. And if there's an order of removal, then they can take them out of the country. So there's no legal problem. I think there could be a big problem with those people if it turns out something bad happens to them in the Salvadoran jail, and we're responsible for that. But as far as deporting them is concerned, if you've got an order of removal and you're an illegal alien and we find a country that will take you, we can send you.
Okay. And just real quick, a lot of people question, you said it was, in your mind, 9-0 on the due process part of that ruling. Is there any difference that a citizen of the United States of America has access to due process? Is there any difference between what a citizen experiences and what an illegal alien experiences?
It always depends on the context, because due process always depends on the context, right? So just to give you a simple example, let's say an illegal alien robs a bank, right, and gets arrested for robbing the bank. If you indict him for bank robbery, the government has to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, just like they would if it was an American citizen who robbed the bank, because in our country, all criminal proceedings are under the criminal standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. On the other hand, an American citizen can't be arrested for being present in the country because obviously your presence is lawful, whereas an illegal immigrant can, and you don't get the same quality of due process as a criminal defendant would get in criminal proceedings. So basically, if the government, and it doesn't necessarily even have to get to a judicial court, if the government can prove that you're in the country illegally, which is usually pretty easy to prove, and that you don't have a basis to apply to stay, you came in illegally, and you may claim that you're afraid of persecution or you're seeking asylum, but that's a high bar. You're going to get an opportunity to prove that, but it's not going to be as elaborate as the opportunity a criminal defendant gets in our courts when they're charged with a crime. So everything always depends on context. What the Supreme Court has basically said, and I think this is what you're looking for, what the Supreme Court has said since around 1953 in a case called Eisentrager, but they've said this a number of times. As the alien comes into our community and grows ties with the United States, so in other words, however you come in, let's say you get a work visa, and then you get a student visa, and then you apply for an adjustment of status up to become a lawful permanent resident, and we give you a green card. What the court says is, as you go along that ascending scale of rights, your due process expectations get higher. They don't equal that of a citizen, unless you're in a context where, like the criminal law, where the government always has to prove things beyond a reasonable doubt, no matter who is the defendant. But a lawful permanent resident alien, say a green card holder, has a lot more due process expectation than, say, an illegal alien, and even more than an alien who is outside the United States who's trying to come in but has never been here before.
Andy McCarthy, this is Ryan Wiggins. When a Supreme Court case comes down like this or decision comes down like this, I'm always looking to see who's claiming that they won. You know, is the right saying, "Oh, this is a terrible decision," and these people don't know what they're doing, or is it vice versa? But last night, I couldn't really make a lot out of it. I couldn't figure out who was saying they won. So I guess my question for you is, was there a clear winner in this 5-4 Supreme Court case?
Well, Ryan, I think that due process won, but I do agree with you that it's very hard to decipher who gets to put this in the W column.
Yeah.
Because for two reasons. One is, Trump went out and claimed victory. And I have to say, as a baseball fan, I think that, if Trump scored a run in the top of the first, he'd claim victory. You would say there's 8 more innings to play. He would claim victory. So, you have to sort of take that with a grain of salt. And then I think the other reason it was hard to tell who won is, even though the court was, to my mind, 9-0 on the important thing, but they were 5-4 on the procedural thing about, like, do you have to bring habeas or can you go under the Administrative Procedures Act? The dissent was so strident on that point that it made you think that this must have been like a crushing loss. A lot of the rhetoric and look, I understand why Justice Sotomayor is whipped up. I mean, the administration took 261 people who even it now says had a right to file habeas corpus and to challenge their deportation, and they deported them. They put them on planes. They didn't bring it to court. They brought them out of the country, and they put them in a place that's actually been condemned by our own State Department. So the dissenters are very whipped up about this, but I think the fact that they're whipped up belies the importance of the thing that divides the court, which is, to me, a technical procedural matter of how you bring the lawsuit. And it obscured the fact that on the big constitutional issue, which is due process, they actually spoke with one voice.
Well, Andy McCarthy, we're very grateful for your time. I know we've only got like a minute left with you. Right before we came on with you, there was a news article that just got released about the Supreme Court today siding with the Trump administration from Fox News, saying they upheld the mass firings of tens of thousands of probationary federal employees, granting a request for an emergency administrative stay on a lower court order blocking the firings. I wasn't sure if you had a chance to review that or if you had any comments.
Yeah, I did. It's a very short opinion, and I'm sure based on our conversation that we just had that President Trump will be out claiming victory. But what the court said, basically 7-2, is that the people who brought the claim on the basis of which the judge issued that injunction against the government, they didn't have standing. So that's the reason they lose. The court didn't reach the merits, and what we're all concerned about is the merits, right? The question anyone would be concerned about this issue, which is there's about 4 million people work for the executive branch. Does the president have the authority to terminate them? That's the thing we want to know, right? But what the court says here is that the people who brought this lawsuit, which were basically interest groups, didn't have enough skin in the game to have standing, and that means they had to vacate the injunction. But what it means, there's no decision on the merits, so what's going to happen eventually is people who actually have standing, like fired federal employees, will bring a lawsuit, and then maybe we'll get to the bottom of what we're all interested in. But for now, these are just like sort of procedural zigs and zags, which I know, I mean, they get me going because I'm a sort of a nerdy person that way, and this is what I do but I can certainly understand why it's frustrating to people that it's a head scratcher because you say, like, why can't we just get an answer on this simple question? Does the president have the authority to fire these people or not?
So what I hear you saying is massive Trump administration victory.
Victory.
Victory is
on
ours.
all fronts. You don't see me here, but I have the 2 V signs. I have both hands up with the V.
That's wonderful. Andy McCarthy, thank you for your time today. We're always asking you to come back, and we always appreciate what you have to offer. Thanks for your time.
It was a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, I don't know. It's not a loss. Because, Lord, I mean, I know Andy's right. Like, Trump's way of claiming victory, he's going to claim it anytime he thinks he can. I think he should. It's politics. He's a politician. He needs to politic well. So I have no problem with it. But in the converse, if there's even a sniff of a loss for the Trump administration, what do?
I mean, they're going to yell just as loud.
Yeah, louder probably. Because they're going to, well, I don't know. They don't really have the media anymore. Kind of lost.
It's interesting. You know, one of the things that he said there that I'd never heard before, that's why you have him on, is because you share stuff like this, is that there's a gradient to due process. That if you've been in the country for a while, there's more due process for you. And that's a weird interpretation of law to me.
I think I like to hear what Andy McCarthy has to say on these things because he has never been a Trump sycophant on anything. And if you're, like, he just referred to himself as a nerd on these things, I, as a non-legal mind, I want Donald Trump to push the envelope as far as he possibly can with legal standing. I don't care if it's a law from, 1800, whatever it is. Like, you got to do what you got to do. If it's within the confines of the law, do it. If it gets challenged, win in court. I appreciate that. But I would think that people who are of, a higher educated legal mind want to make sure even if you support Trump, you want to make sure he's going about these things the smart legal way. Because I don't think you can surmise from somebody like Andy McCarthy or another person who's maybe not 100% on board with the sound legal process that President Trump used with the El Salvador thing, that if he thinks that the legal grounds to do it are shaky, I don't think you can therefore correlate that Andy McCarthy wants illegals here. I think that McCarthy could still say, no, I want every gangbanger, rapist, trafficker, drug lord, illegal immigrant that's in the United States gone. But he's still going to stand by, you have to do it legally. Like, you can't say that if you're scratching your head on Donald Trump's legal proceedings, if you're saying, I don't know if this is as sound as it needs to be, I see people say in turn that they think, well, maybe he just wants him to be here. Like, it's not that simple. You can't only follow the rule of law. I mean, we're supposed to be the rule of law people.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people on the left. I mean, this Judge Boasberg has made a name for himself basically being that guy who he leads with politics and then he finds justification for it in the law somehow. That's not Andy McCarthy. Andy McCarthy is strictly, I mean, he even said he's kind of a nerd about the law. He's like, well, what's the precedent? What's it been? And he's not somebody who leads with the conclusion first. He actually, that's why he's a good guest, is because he leads with what history has said legally about this topic first. And he'll go to the mat for it.
If Trump, if there's any legal gray area, Trump's going to get called on it.
And Trump will find it.
Yeah. No, I'm saying if there's any question about what he implements from the left, they're going to go find the judge in the district that's going to make it possible. All right, we're way past time here. Grade President Trump, A, B/C, D, or F. We need about 70 votes to get to 300 here before the 2 o'clock hour. We'll take some phone calls if we do. Hustle up to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AnnieFry, and grade President Trump, A, B/D, or B/C, D, or F. You can let us know what you think. Grimy says, interesting return on the polls. I guess he's seeing the results. He said, surprised that some Trump supporters are thinking logically. There seems to be hope. Better go get in there and vote. We'll be right back.
The way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me. Feel so holy, 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 holy.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X @AnnieFryShow.
Can't wait another second. 'Cause the way you hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me, feel so holy.
RulerFoods.com. Shop for groceries at Ruler Foods and quickly see how so many people have been able to save on the goods that they buy and have bought at their other grocery stores, wherever you might go. You just spend less when you shop at Ruler Foods. They have the name brands that you love. They also carry Kroger brands. You probably haven't tried Kroger brands around here if you haven't gone to a Ruler Foods. So check them out. They're wonderful, wonderful products. We get a ton of it in the Fry home. You can enjoy savings on Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices every time you shop. You can also save a little extra right now when you shop Jack's Pizzas, 2 for $6. Kroger potato chips or pretzels, 2 for $3. Enjoy really fresh, delicious strawberries, a 1-pound package, $2.49 each. We go through a ton of those in our house. You can also save on Kroger 73% lean ground beef, sold in a 3-pound roll, just $3.33 a pound. You can shop smart and spend less at Ruler Foods. You can even have those savings delivered directly to your door. Find your Ruler Foods and schedule delivery at rulerfoods.com.
Get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
If you want to see Little Big Town for free July 25th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, keep listening. We're going to give away a pair of tickets in the 2 o'clock hour. Also, today's YouTube live chat poll is grade President Trump. It's an A, B/C, D, or F scale. Let us know what you think. It is 150. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Little Big Town is coming to our town July 25th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. And our show wants to send you to their show for free. Just listen to the Annie Fry Show for a chance to win every day this week. Little Big Town at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 25th.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
So the YouTube poll today is to grade President Trump A, B/C, D, or F. Ryan, I'm going to let you go first on this one. What are we? We're not 3 months in, 2.5. 2.5 months into a 4-year presidency. There's been a lot in those days.
I'm not sure what I could have asked for more, other than we've talked about this, though, too. Why haven't we seen any prosecutions yet? Where's the Epstein list? You know, that kind of stuff. I would like to see a little more of what's going on there. But
Dan Bongino,
Yep.
he just officially got into his position like a week or two ago. So to phrase up like the amount of time, they haven't even been fully staffed.
Yeah, he's only been there for less than a month.
Yeah.
And he's the deputy FBI director. So, you know, it takes some time. And he's been posting on X that, look, there's a lot going on. We can't go out and publish everything that we're doing all the time. That's the nature of criminal investigations. So that kind of stuff, I go, okay, give him some credit there. But I would say A. There's not really much that I could find that I think that he could be doing better. This whole tariff thing is very much a wait and see, but based on the rationale that they're giving, I say, well, that sounds like it could be a home run.
Well, let's listen to what CNN has to say right now about Donald Trump.
I think there was this concern among some folks that Donald Trump would come in for a second term and kind of be a lame duck. He ain't no lame duck. If anything, he's a soaring eagle. What am I talking about here? Let's talk about Trump executive orders in 2025. He's already signed 111 so far. That is the most at this point in a presidency in at least 100 years. In fact, it's the most in any single year, and we're only in April, since Harry S. Truman in the early 1950s. The bottom line is whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's come in and not try to deliver on what he at least believes was his promises on the campaign trail, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
So when you are listening to him explain the activity, now you can say he signed 111 executive orders, which makes him the most in 100 years. And if you hate every single one of those, you're not loving it. You're not coming to the Annie Fry YouTube poll right now and hitting it with an A. And if you haven't yet, come grade President Trump on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll.
How are people reacting to and feel about Trump's approach?
Do you hear the sadness in her voice?
She's always that same lady.
Yeah, okay, so Trump's approach here, what are we talking about? Trump's approach to presidential power. I think the American people recognize what he's doing here is completely different. We're talking, get this, 86% of the American public believes that Trump's approach to presidential power is completely different from past presidents, compared to only 14% who believe it is in line with precedent. And we're talking about at least 79% of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. So again, you can agree or you can disagree with Donald Trump. But what you can't disagree with is that he's doing things very differently. I have used the Frank Sinatra quote before. He is doing it, quote unquote, my way. And that is what Donald Trump has done throughout both of his presidential terms. And he's certainly doing that, Kate Baldwin, in term number 2.
So completely differently, clearly they agree, but take it a step further? Do the people think he has too much, he's taken too much power?
Yeah, this I think is the real question, right? You can believe that he's doing stuff completely differently, but do you think that he has a little too much power or not? And this is interesting. So Trump's presidential power is too much, the right amount, too little. Well, 47% say too much, but then you get 36% who say the right amount. Then you get 17% who say too little. So you're essentially dealing with a majority of the American public, 53%, who do not say that Trump has too much power. They either says he has too little power or the right amount of power. So the idea, that argument that Donald Trump is, quote unquote, a king, that I don't think holds with the American people. It does hold maybe with 47%, but with the majority of folks, they believe Donald Trump's doing something completely differently, and they don't believe he has too much power. And the executive orders he signed certainly suggest he's no lame duck. He is, as I said at the beginning, a soaring eagle.
This woman standing there, her shoulders get lower with every word that guy says.
Do we have to do this segment?
Yeah. What about people who say that he has too much power?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
they're in the minority, lady.
Every time this happens, Harry Ensign will come out and do one of these videos. Tomorrow, it'll be why Donald Trump is failing. It'll be back and forth every time.
Come vote. We want your votes. We want to take phone calls in the 2 o'clock hour. We only need 41 votes to get us to 300. What is your grade for President Trump? Annie Fry YouTube channel. Come vote, and then we'll open the phones for you. We'll be right back.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
St. Louis homeowners, are you thinking about upsizing, downsizing, or relocating this year? Hey, it's Mark Cox. When life happens and you need to sell your home, I recommend you talk to my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria understands every seller situation is unique. That's why she has created custom programs to fit every home seller's needs. Many people move out of necessity, like for a new job or financial challenges. That's why Gloria created her guaranteed multiple cash offer program, giving you up to 6 of the best offers with at least one at 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. Plus, you sell faster. Gloria did this for the Miller family in Clayton and got them more money than they were expecting and within their time frame. She did it for them. She can do it for you. Get your offers today by calling Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
A message for qualified investors from Noble Gold Investments. If your portfolio is over $250,000 and you aren't hedged, you're sitting on a ticking time bomb. With markets at all-time highs, history tells us what comes next. A 10% allocation into gold and silver can help diversify. Experienced investors know that in times of economic uncertainty, real assets, not paper promises, offer true security. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy to add institutional-grade gold and silver to your portfolio, so you can hedge like the world's smartest investors. For nearly a decade, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans protect their future, turning numbers on a screen into real, tangible assets. And right now, when you make a qualified investment, Noble Gold will add a free 10th-ounce gold coin to your order. Disciplined investors protect what they've built. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com today. NobleGoldInvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The White House description of countries calling about new trade deals.
About 70 countries are seeking to negotiate lower tariff rates, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says.
They will be one-stop shopping for each and every country. They will be, as the president said again, tailor-made, not off the rack.
Leavitt says economic deals could go beyond just trade balances.
That means discussions of foreign aid, of our military presence in these countries, how those troops are paid for.
President Trump says he spoke with South Korea's acting president about a shared pipeline project and U.S. military protection.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. China, however, will face even higher levies when new tariffs begin tomorrow after missing a deadline to rescind a retaliatory tariff on U.S. goods. Democrats say the Trump tariffs will hurt consumers and businesses.
The U.S. economy has gone from the envy of the world to a laughingstock in less time than it took to finish March Madness.
Oregon Democratic Senator Ron Wyden says investors and retirement funds are in purgatory. Right now, stocks turning lower an hour to the close after an earlier rally evaporated. The Dow's now down 23 points. The White House sending a message to accused gang members after last night's Supreme Court decision allowing a wartime law for deportations.
Our message to the monster Tren de Aragua and MS-13 terrorists still hiding illegally inside our country is clear. Deport yourself now, or you will be locked up and sent back to your home country.
Spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt calls the ruling a smackdown to a district court judge they say has tried to stop the president from using constitutional power to protect communities. The Supreme Court also ruled migrants subject to removal under the Alien Enemies Act must receive notice and time to challenge removal. Leavitt also telling reporters this weekend talks with Iran will be direct. Iran disputes that. America's listening to Fox News.
Harbor Freight knows time is money, so for our Spring Black Friday sale, we're getting straight to the deals. This weekend, you get 35% off jack stands, 56-inch roll cabs under $800, and 2,300 PSI electric pressure washers under $190. See? Straight to the point, so you can get straight to the savings. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Valid until April 13th, 2025 while supplies last. Limitations apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Tons of sunshine going through our Tuesday afternoon, but it is cool. It's below average and 55 for the high. Tonight, clouds, more and more clouds anyway, take over. Kind of a night of increasing clouds, 41. Wednesday, mostly cloudy. A lot of dry time, but some scattered showers and thunder showers late in the day on Wednesday. 65 scattered showers and thunder showers Wednesday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
The Retirement Advisory Group, online at retirementkey.com. Reach out to them right now, because when you reach out to the Retirement Advisory Group, you're going to be in a position to not have to worry about freaking out in the stock market. The freak out in the stock market doesn't have to make you freak out. You go into your retirement and you know what's happening. You can participate in the gains that are, I look now and it's down 33, but it's been green most of the day. You don't want to have to worry about that. That's the biggest conversation that people are having right now with the market fluctuations. It's like, what about the people who are about to retire, just retired? Those people need to call Bob and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig at the Retirement Advisory Group, 314-993-9494, 314-993-9494, and exhale. Have that conversation. It doesn't cost you a thing to have that first consultation, and then you can make the decision on what to do next. If you're 59 and a half or older, you definitely have to make the phone call. Reach out to the people you can trust at the Retirement Advisory Group right now to make sure that your retirement is full of peace of mind. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
Experience the exhilarating atmosphere of a Cardinals game. Join the sea of red in the wave around the stadium. Feel the rush of excitement as a home run lights up the sky with fireworks, bringing the whole ballpark to their feet. Nothing beats the thrill of watching the Cards get the W with the final out at the plate. It's more than a game. It's an experience. Visit Cardinals.com for tickets and info. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
There is no better way to enjoy America's favorite pastime than cheering on the Cardinals with your family at Busch Stadium. From the thrill of watching the game to the kid-friendly activities, food, and fun, the ballpark has it all. Make magical memories as you cheer together for every home run, double play, and Cards win. Your family's summer tradition starts here at Busch Stadium. Grab your tickets today at Cardinals.com. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
We haven't forgotten about you, Illinois. Come see us at Ott's Tavern and the Millstop Fish Stand this Friday. It's our final Fish Fry Friday for Lent on The Mark Reardon Show and 97.1 FM Talk. Hope to see you there.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
What kind of grade would you give President Trump? Ryan, you said an A. When we went, right before we went to the break, you said Donald Trump gets an A for you 2.5 months in.
Yeah.
Is it anything in particular? Is it the whole?
It is the priorities. I think that the fact that he knows, and this is the second term, because in this first term he did some great stuff, but he didn't do this. It's that he knows how deep the problems run in this country. And I'm going to go ahead and put a name on it. Communism and socialism have taken some pretty deep root in this country. And he knows that he has got to act swiftly and with a lot of courage to pull those roots out. I don't know if he'll even be successful, but he's trying.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We are 20 votes away on the YouTube poll from being able to take votes or take calls. So if you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel right now, you go to youtube.com/@AnnieFry, F-R-E-Y. Open up your YouTube app on your phone. If you find our live broadcast right now, you can give a grade to President Trump. And we'll read some of your comments here as well. I'm going to open the phone lines, 314-241-9797, 282. We're getting there. Just need 18 more votes. I'm going to open the phone lines, 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. And if you want to call in and you want to weigh in, get in line right now. And when we hit 300 votes, we'll take the phone calls. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Some of the thoughts here from people who have commented so far online on the YouTube poll. Grade President Trump A, B/C, D, or F. I mentioned Grimey's comment there. He voted in it, looked at the poll results, and said he's surprised to see Trump voters, and he's assuming that the people listening to the show are Trump voters, voting the way they are voting. And he saw some hope in that. So maybe your vote might actually persuade a little bit here on the end results, because there are people who are saying, like, for instance, Russell gives it a B/C. At times, he seems like a three-legged cat in a cat box with the chaos. It's an image. Maybe in a month, the grade will be higher or lower, to be determined. Need 10 votes, 9 votes left on the thing here. The people keep talking about the chaos. I don't know that you could have this kind of progress, smooth sailing, especially when your name is Donald Trump. That's just the nature of, when we listened to that last CNN clip there, 83% of the people polled said that he's doing this presidency the way nobody's done it before. So if you're going to do stuff that nobody's done before, what's that going to look like? Chaos, because you can't predict what happens next. Isn't a transformative presidency what the people want?
Yeah, that's what they voted for. In fact, they voted for that multiple times. I would say that there were a lot of people that thought they were voting for transformation when they voted for Obama. They voted for Trump the
That's
first
what they
time.
sold, yeah.
That's what, Biden, I don't know if you'd call him transformational. He was sort of a reversion back to Obama.
It was a continuation of a fundamental transformation that was promised.
Yes, yeah, in that sense it was. So, but this time for sure, if you voted for Trump, you were voting to upend everything. And that's what he's doing.
Well, we've got 304 votes, and if you want to give us a call and weigh in, 314-241-9797. You can tell us why you grade the president the way you grade Donald Trump. 314-241-9797. I'll read some more comments here from our YouTube live chat. Betsy said, I will go with an A, oh, wait, I already read that one. Officer Gary says, I have to give him an A only because you didn't include an A+. Is there anything right now that you're saying, I'd take the plus away?
No, not really. I mean, for me, it is all the way in. I think that he's done just about what you would expect in that you didn't know what to expect. So, he's kind of keeping you guessing. But I'll say this because there's a friend of mine who I talked to this weekend, who I've been very much wanting to talk to about this whole thing because he is a interesting guy. He doesn't even really give Democrats the time of day, but he constantly criticizes Republicans because he's always saying they're not doing enough economically to save us from going over the cliff. So I was talking to him a little bit this weekend, and he said the one thing that he thinks that Trump, not just in this term, but overall, has really failed at, and I thought this was a fair criticism, that's why I wanted to bring it up, is that he says, look, Trump is trying now to solve the problems of our country's economy, the deep debt that we've dug ourselves into. The thing, though, that people don't point out enough is that Trump contributed to that debt. Trump was part of adding $6 trillion to that debt in the last year of his first term. And so he's got to be transformational partially because of the hole that he helped dig. And I thought that's a fair assessment. I think that in the time that we were living in that moment, people were willing to give it a pass, but he did dig that hole a little bit.
All right, well, let's get to the phones. 314-241-9797 if you want to give us a call and give President Trump a grade and tell us why you want to grade him that way. We're going to try to get through as many of these as we can. Jeffrey, thank you for calling the Annie Fry Show. Your thoughts on the president's grade?
Is this for me?
Yep. Jeffrey, go ahead.
Okay, yes. I gave him an A+ because what he's doing, I haven't read any of this. I went to Wharton just like he did. I went on Wall Street. I talk like him. People think I kind of act like him. What he's doing is he's putting a tariff on everybody. 50 countries, we're already seeing it. 50 countries are going to say, hey, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. He's got all his people making calls. He's putting his own market together of pro-American companies, America First type countries. And anybody's outside of that regime will be excluded from the Donald Trump New World Order of the economy. And that's what he's doing. And nobody's seeing, I didn't read this exact description, but think about it. You've heard 50 countries are going to call his back channel people and say, let's make a deal. And he's making deals now.
Yeah.
And you'll get to see in the next several, and he'll create his own market. And if Britain's going to say, oh, yeah, and this is, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. And everybody outside of it will be SOL, as they say.
Do you think it's the Donald Trump New World Order? Or do you think it's an America First New World Order?
Well, it's all about Donald Trump. Now, who's the deal makers? It's not, no, Johnson can't get his people together in the House for the Donald Trump bill yet until Donald Trump gets those guys in a room and say, look, it's either you're with me or you're against me. And these countries, it's all about Donald Trump because it's got to be. He's the change agent. And we learned that. Wharton School, there's more self-made billionaire Wharton guys than any other part of University of Pennsylvania, which is a very liberal. I mean, they don't even teach God in their theology department anyway. But the point is, he's playing four-dimensional chess, and nobody's picking up on it. And he's using his political capital now, not worrying about the midterms and all the political stuff and all the inside of the Beltway stuff. He's not worried about that because he knows this can snap back. Just like the market went down 20%, it can go up 50%. And when everybody gets on board, and now he has the big you should probably call it the Mar-a-Lago Accords. I predict the Mar-a-Lago Accords. Anyway, you
Jeffrey,
heard it from Jeff.
All right, Jeff, thank you. I appreciate it. He gives him an A+. Very happy.
Yeah.
A+.
And Wharton College got a few mentions there, so go Nittany Lions. I just did that to throw Ethan off.
You did.
Are they the Nittany Lions?
No, they're not.
I was going to say, because Penn State's going to have something to say about that. That'd be like, you're going to be Wharton's, whatever it is, School of Business, College, whatever it is. Yeah. And I just need to know who are the first Nittany Lions. 314-241-9797 if you want to join us. 314-241-9797. You can give us a call. Tell us what grade you give President Trump. Tim is calling. Tim, how do you feel about the president? What's the grade?
Well, I would give him a B+.
Okay.
Because he's doing a great job. I just don't necessarily agree with every way he's doing it. So that's why the high B+.
What do you like? What has he done that you are like, yes, that we've been needing?
He is ripping off the Band-Aid. He is doing what needs to be done in a very direct way, like the tariffs and everything. Everything is a negotiation with Trump. We know that. The Democrats haven't got that. Well, maybe they have figured that out, but they're not reacting like it because they don't want to. Everything he's doing is for a negotiation tactic, which I understand, which I don't always like, but that's what he's doing. Everything's a negotiation.
Tim,
I think he could have.
What is it about it? What is it that is just falling short of the A grade?
I think he could have done it smoother and perhaps taken a chunk of countries at a time, as opposed to I don't want to say attack, but basically he pushed them a little bit and shoved them and said, "Okay, now what? Come on, do something."
I think he thinks that's the way he's going to get the best deal.
Well, the problem is you can't deal with everybody all at the same time. You can only talk to a group at some time, unless he delegates very effectively. And right now, I don't know that anybody can. I don't think he can delegate negotiation to anybody that does it as good as he does.
Well, I think
that's what.
Yeah, Tim, I understand. I understand that. Thank you for the phone call. I think he actually has a pretty good team around him. I feel like Bessent and Lutnick. I know how you feel about him. I feel like they seem to be very much so on the same page. The Fox News had a graphic up just before we started the segment. Trump tariff response and no retaliation, Mexico. That's the country that they have under there. Possible retaliation, the European Union. People who have retaliated, these two countries always lumped together. China and Canada. Just kidding.
Lately.
The Trump tariff response of offering concessions, Vietnam, Taiwan, India, Thailand, Indonesia, Israel. And then trying to negotiate Japan, South Korea, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Malaysia, Singapore, Brazil, Colombia, Turkey, and Australia. So that's quite a few countries that he's been dealing with. But, of course, there are many other that are going to need to be the case. Let's get to Max. Max, thanks for calling the Annie Fry Show. What do you give the president? What kind of grade?
Hi. Thank you for taking the calls and everything else, but I give him a B to a B+.
Okay. Why a B+?
Because we still haven't solved the problems with the war over in Israel and the war in Ukraine, which was two things that in the campaign that he said I would have it over with before I even took office. We still have hostages that we haven't brought home. The war in Ukraine, it's still going strong.
Do you feel like you're just waiting to give him the A on that? Because we are just 2.5 months in. I mean, that's why I keep reminding myself, like, there's so much that needs to be done. And to look at him and be like, why haven't you done this yet? He still is very fresh to the second term.
I would say that, Annie, but when he was campaigning, that was paramount in his entire campaign. I'm going to do this. It's going to be over before I'm even sworn in.
Yeah.
Now, with the tariffs and everything else, it's great. And as I'm also a teacher, and you guys have a family of teachers over there, too, it's like he needs just to submit the assignment. It's got a no grade right now, and it's kind of dragging his grade down. So get the damn assignment in, or darn assignment in, and you'll get your A.
I appreciate it. Max, thank you for the phone call. I understand that the Ukraine-Russia thing, he did say it was going to be right away. He also made an aggressive statement on the hostages, and for the most part, he's been able to, the hostages that Hamas had, for the most part, he's been able to get those back. But I think there's still room for improvement there as well. Let's get to Diana. Diana, thanks for calling the Annie Fry Show. What grade do you give the president?
An A.
And what?
Because
go ahead.
The reason is because I believe in God. I believe that God wanted him in that office, and that because I believe in God, that's why he gets an A.
Okay, Diana, I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, you can look through, biblically speaking, to take this to a religious place like Diana had. You talk about like the Lord's anointed. They were often very broken people.
Yeah, well, look, that's not a point to be discounted. That guy was almost shot, and for him to have avoided
technically
a bullet
was shot.
Well, yes, for him to have avoided a bullet to the head by as narrow a margin as it was, it makes you take a step back and go, maybe this is an appointment.
I don't remember who said it, but they were saying that they believed that it had to hit him in the ear so he would know exactly how close. Like being under fire, that's serious.
Yeah.
But when it gets that close, and, you know, we've heard him say that many times, like the head turn, the chart that he loves so much, that it was that close.
I was just going to quickly say, too, not even that, but for the people's sake as well, because I think it's one thing to hear Trump say, oh, I heard it go by my ear, but it's another thing for the people to say that it was that close as well.
Yeah. Sandra, thank you for calling the Annie Fry Show. What grade do you give President Trump? Go ahead, Sandra. Sandra, can you hear us? Oh, I can hear Ethan in the background.
Ethan.
Sorry, Sandra. You're going to hear that in just a second. Patty, thank you for calling the Annie Fry Show. What grade do you give President Trump?
Hi, Annie. Thank you for taking my call. I give him an A+.
And what really makes it like he couldn't do any better for you?
I think the morale that he's brought to our country is outstanding. I was a teacher for 30 years, and when I had issues in my classroom, the parents always sided for, of course, their child, but they didn't see everything that I saw. And when we do the same thing with the president, we're not there every day. We don't know the whole picture of what he's going through and what information he has. So to judge him any different would be wrong.
Well, I appreciate that insight very much. Insight, Patty. Thank you for calling. An A+ from Patty. Let's get to Chad. Chad, thanks for calling the Annie Fry Show. What grade do you give President Trump?
Hey, and I give him a B.
And what is it about it that it's not quite A material for you yet?
What he's doing is correct. I think the way that him and Elon Musk did the cuts. To me, what I would have done, I would have said, okay, we're going to make these cuts, but we're going to provide a lot of job assistance and you guys finding new jobs because we're bringing a lot of jobs in. So the workers who are being cut, he should have something for them to fall back on as far as job opportunities and this, that, and other. Just basically stating that, even though we're cutting these positions, we're going to assist these former federal workers in finding a job.
Chad, can I ask you just a question on that? Because I understand that. That's a compassionate place. I understand where your heart is on that issue. But radio stations make cuts all the time. And if I get cut from my job here because the company decides they don't need a midday show anymore or they're just going to, flip the station or something, none of that is happening for the folks that are listening at home.
What did you just say?
Shush. But if that happens, nobody is coming to help me find a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, cuts happen in the private sector all of the time, and we have unemployment offices that you can go to. But do you believe those federal workers deserve that type of benefit that the private sector doesn't get?
Well, the deal is they get to vote. And you got to understand, if you're a private company, they're not voting on anything. These people get to vote, and they got family members and other people. And it's a psychological thing, too. You have to be able to let the people know that you feel their pain and that what you're doing is we have to make these cuts because these positions really have been deemed unnecessary, but you are necessary as a human being because we are. This is politics. It's not just the private sector. It's public sector. And these people get to vote. That's why the Democrats are out there hollering now about, oh, he's making all these cuts. And even though we know, you and I know, that a lot of those jobs are fake jobs that Joe Biden created to say this job rate is down.
Yeah.
But a lot of those positions were unnecessary, but these people still have to make a living. They still have to do these things. And then you don't have, as a private sector, you don't have the whole Democratic Party coming down on your head saying that you're heartless and you're just throwing these people out of a job. And this is one of the reasons why Elon Musk is having issues. If I was Musk, I would have basically said, listen, these jobs are unnecessary, but I do have some positions open too. And if you qualify for them, you're a federal worker, I'm going to look at you twice as hard to see if I can help place you.
I appreciate
these are just things you have to do to take some of the sting out of it.
Well, I appreciate your call, Chad. I thank you. I would focus, and I'm going to have to take this one call left because I have Tim on the line, and I don't think he's going to say nice things about Trump, and he's the only one who called it. He called at the end of the segment, so I'm going to get to him. But to Chad's point, the whole tariff thing is to bring jobs back to America, bring manufacturing back to America, to bring a work ethic back to America. So in the grand scheme of things that you can't complete in 2.5 months, Trump is doing that. And I care about those people just like I care about my colleagues in the media industry that are constantly getting downsized. Every media industry is constantly being downsized. But the safety net of public funding doesn't exist there for us unless we go to file for unemployment, which is the exact same thing that a federal worker or a public sector worker would go for. All right, Tim, what do you think about President Trump? What kind of grade do you give him?
Annie, I give him a C- so far just because I'm a little tired of him not focusing on tax cuts we're facing massive tax increases at the end of 2025. And honestly, I'm supportive of the overall tariff measures, and I'm also very happy with him saving TikTok for now. My business generates $250,000 annually through TikTok Shop, and I hope he saves in the long run while protecting us from Chinese spyware and all these other things.
So you understand the complication of TikTok, but you want to see it successful in the end. I think that's the way a lot of people are about it. So
correct.
So you said the tax cuts being made permanent. That's the key issue that you need to see right now to feel better about it.
Correct, because in 8 months we're facing massive tax hikes across the board, not just for the upper class, but it's for every single class.
Yeah.
Just so everyone's aware. So Congress needs to get their butt moving, and I hope Trump signs a nice, big, beautiful bill soon. So thank you for taking my call today.
Tim, thank you so much.
I completely disagree with that. I know that there are people who are really put the pedal down, make those tax cuts permanent right now. You could do that all the way up until December 31st of this year, and it still apply to next year. So I don't get the hurry.
The people are worried about the narrow margin of Republicans in the House of Representatives that can change when it's that tiny. Right now, the Democrats are missing 2 seats.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have the possibility of, any sort of crisis occurring to any of the Republicans that are there and being so close that, if you factor Thomas Massie out of the picture, no matter what, because it seems like there's nothing that this House is going to put together that he's going to be satisfied with. There's just such a slim margin to get it done. I understand the principle behind what the hawks in the fiscal hawks in the House, they want to make sure that the cuts that are going to be made permanent are paid for. At the end of the day, that's really what it is. I don't understand why they don't just cut more, but it's above my pay grade because I don't see all the numbers that they say.
And I'm not saying Tim was saying this, but that talking point is used a lot by politicians to say, we need to move fast on this bill when the bill's not that good. And so they go, well, we got to pass the tax cuts. And it's like, no, you actually have time to pass the tax cuts.
I don't know that the bill is particularly bad. I don't think it's a bad bill. I think that what the House is saying, specifically some of those fiscal hawks are saying that it could and should be better.
I agree.
But you could change that in the future, too.
Yes. And to Chad's point, too, about being more hospitable to workers that are fired, the one thing that Trump doesn't get any credit for ever is that he offered anybody who wanted to leave 7 months of pay in the future.
Yeah,
that's very nice.
You don't get that here.
No.
You want to talk about a jobs program, make it so that you can find a job you really like in 7 months' time. Thanks for the grades, guys. We're at 336 votes now on the Annie Fry YouTube channel. Grade President Trump. We want your thoughts as well. Hit us up, youtube.com/@AnnieFry. We'll be right back.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
AirComfortService.com, keeping you cool in the summer and warm in the winter, and cool and warm depending on the time of day in the spring and the fall of St. Louis. You know how it goes. If you need to make sure your comfort zone is within reach, because it isn't right now, you need Air Comfort Service. You can call them directly at 314-513-0091. Tell them Annie sent you, 314-513-0091, or go online to aircomfortservice.com. I've talked to you about the 55 plus years of experience that they have of being the go-to for HVAC needs in St. Louis. I am a multi-time customer of theirs, very grateful that my HVAC system, my water heater, the ventilation in my home, it's all been managed by Air Comfort Service, and I'm very grateful for it. But there's something a little extra that I want you to know about when you do business with Air Comfort Service. The team, along with Corey at Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, they support the community that they serve in honor of National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day this month. They are donating a bag of food for every AC clean and check performed in April to their friends at Open Door Animal Sanctuary in High Ridge. Your air conditioner needs routine maintenance just like your car. Think about how much your AC runs during the summer daily. Call them and schedule that check today. 314-513-0091 and help out a local pet shelter in the process. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, Audacy. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million, or $1 million feel like $2 million? You could. But the key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. It's Sue Thomas. And if you want to discover how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement, try this 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. It's a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects with decades of financial planning experience. They are held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost, but they ask that you bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you have saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
If you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, you need to be a member of the Range St. Louis West. Mark Cox here. You know, they get free lanes and free firearm rentals, 5% off firearms and suppressors, 10% off accessories, and 15% off classes. The new benefit on Sundays from 10 to noon, the lanes are for members only. And in April, you get 2 free basic cleanings of a modern firearm. Check them out at 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, TheRangeSTL.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan and be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
We like to keep you on your toes, so right now is the time you should call to win Little Big Town tickets July 25th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. The phone number here is 314-241-9797. If you are the 9th caller, you will win a free pair of tickets to see Little Big Town on July 25th. Once again, 314-241-9797. Call now. Caller number 9 wins.
If you use a smart speaker, you can listen to 97.1 easier than ever. Just tell it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app for your phone and stream the station whenever, wherever. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
My baby look good in them blue jeans, tied on the top with a belly button ring, a little tattoo somewhere in between. She only shows to me.
Did you see my get up here on my wrist?
What's up with your get up?
I did see the get up.
You like it?
I can't see it.
It's just pre-wrap and
okay.
2 pieces of athletic tape. But
did you pitch 9 innings last night?
yeah, left-handed.
Why would that be on the wrist?
Hitting everybody.
It's tough on everything. 9 innings.
Beats up the bones and the ligaments.
You ever had a ganglion cyst?
No, it sounds terrible. And
Doesn't it sound like otherworldly?
Yeah, it sounds like it's got cordyceps and it's like comes from the octopus.
I can't think of a lot of words that'd be worse than ganglion before cyst.
Exactly.
Yeah, in your body? No bueno.
Ganglion. Sounds like it's got a mind of its own.
Hurts like hell.
What is it? What is it?
A fluid-filled sac.
A fluid-filled sac.
I think that's like the medical definition of it. I posted on the Annie Fry Facebook page last night that I have a ganglion cyst on my wrist. I once, when I was in grade or high school, I once had a cyst on my wrist and a sty on my eye at the same time.
That's funny.
That was,
rhymes.
That was a big week for me.
Mm-hmm. The kids probably had a good time with that.
Yeah, it's really great.
Sounds like it going to Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's from what I've read, can you see like in this wrist is okay. Can you see there's like a divot right there a little bit, just teeny tiny?
Yep, little divot.
That is where the cyst would be. if it inflamed or whatever, but it's on my left wrist. I've been working out with Trainer Steve and my mom and Kim, and we do lift. It's just weightlifting for the most part, just that type of movement, and it inflamed it.
What a name, Trainer Steve. It's like if you got that name, you knew you were going to be a trainer.
Yes. Okay. But anyway, it starts to get bigger and bigger, but it has since, I can't even, every time I move, like even just flinch in my sleep, I wake up because it hurts. It has to be positioned like it's resting on a pillow in just the right way so that it doesn't radiate pain at this point down my fingers and all the way up to my elbow.
You're like the Princess and the Pea, except with a ganglion cyst.
That's a different story. I think this is the opposite of the Princess and the Pea. And I ironically am like the Princess and the Pea. If there's a single crumb in my bed.
Maybe the pea is the cyst.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Shush. You've never had something like that before? You guys, neither of you even heard of it?
Well, here's the thing. I've had tennis elbow for like 4 years straight now, so I know what it means to roll over in your sleep and go, oh, because it just randomly will hit. So I get that, but I've never had that.
So I have something on the underside of my left arm.
Let's all talk about our weird things on our body.
Ooh, is it a skin tag?
Is it a mole?
No, it's under the skin.
Is it a goiter?
It's
it a
probably some
fluid-filled
sort of
sack?
It might be. It's probably some sort of cyst. But if
Have
I
Ryan look at it.
bump it, that makes
Show
me
me.
nervous.
Show the camera.
He can take it.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. Okay, I want to show it. Okay, there's really not much to see. Those a thing. You just have but you can feel it if
Under
you
skin.
rub your finger over it. You feel that
Ryan,
bump.
get over there.
Oh no, thank you.
Oh, you have. You have limits.
But I really appreciate the offer though from Annie.
Get over there and give it a rub. Tell me what you feel.
Oh gosh,
Give
no.
my fluid-filled sack a rub.
Gee whiz, you guys, I couldn't. But thank you so much. I'm honored.
I need to go get it checked out, and I've been putting it off for like a year.
Oh man,
What are you gonna do?
Panic? I don't know.
No, don't be a panicking.
Last night, I came home from my son's baseball game, and it just hurts all of the time. It's getting to the point where it's debilitating, and I am going to go out of town this weekend, and I was like, gosh, I don't want to deal with this the whole time I'm gone. I'm going to urgent care. Fine, I'm going to urgent care. I Googled, can urgent care help with ganglion cysts? And it said, yeah, they can stick a needle in it and drain it.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible, but if it helped it, I would go through significant, horrible pain for a couple minutes if I had to make this stop.
You know what the problem is when you drain it?
They come back,
Mhm.
but at least it would not be there.
Isn't that what they put in snow globes?
It's the ganglion cyst juice.
That's so.
That's why whenever I'm in one of those shops in Florida, I'm like, not on my watch. You're not getting one of those kids. I don't care if Mickey's in it.
You don't know where that's
You
been.
don't know where that's a ganglion
That thing
cyst globe.
busts open. Our
No
house
one's
is
going to look at
infected.
globes the same. That's just like yesterday when we were reporting what the stock market was doing. Right now, Ryan, can you give us a report on, just look behind you, on what the stock market is doing?
Oh, just look at me.
But make sure you deliver it correctly.
Oh, it's down 704 points. The
Yeah.
Dow Jones.
Now, if it were up 704
Oh,
points.
now, hey, but on here, I'm looking at maybe this is a quicker, maybe there's a live update here.
Whatever you're looking at,
this says it's up, it's down 590 points.
But it went up.
But it went up.
From being down.
So you usually have to say it that way.
Yeah, so whenever you read the stock market, if we do it on the show, we'll inflect with our voice.
Yeah.
Ethan, you said you were reading it that way yesterday after we said that on your own. You paying attention to the stock market at all?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I have a question. Is the negative or positive number based off of where it started the day?
Yes.
Okay.
Started the day?
Yeah. That's where it started the day.
I think the situation is fluid. We should go to
I
break.
think it's
What time is it?
ganglion.
All right.
There's a couple of doctors on the
What are they
chat
saying?
here.
Tell
One of
me.
them says probably cancer. We'll move
Oh
on from
my
that
gosh,
one.
Brian.
The next one says grab a book and take care of Annie's cyst.
Pause. Chris, correct. These are called Bible cysts. And on my post, a lot of people are saying, Annie, in the old days, we called those Bible cysts because what you would do is you would take a Bible and raise it and slam it down on the ganglion cyst, and then the cyst would break, and then you'd be fine. funny story. I've had these the majority of my life, especially during basketball season, because there's a lot of wrist action in that. And we were over at my grandmother's house on a Sunday night, as we are apt to do, playing pinochle. And we would
Ganglion pinochle.
At this point, it started out that way. A double deck of pinochle cards. My dad had the stack of cards in his desk, or in the deck in his hands. And I put my hand on the table, just jokingly, and said, "Dad, smash that cyst." And he lifted up the deck of cards and he smashed it.
Really?
And it went away immediately.
Did it hurt like crazy?
I was so scared by the fact that he actually let loose on it.
Wow.
I just like, "Dad, smash that." And he was like, whap! And then it fixed.
No hesitation.
And I was like in tears because I was so surprised that he did it. But I'm like, I think it's fixed. So that works.
Did it come back?
It's here right now. Yes.
No, I mean, like, how,
Yes, it'll come back.
No, but how quickly did it come back? Do you remember?
I feel like I would have weeks to months in between.
Oh,
she was on the bench for a long time. But the minute she got in the game.
No, I wasn't on the bench. I didn't sit on the bench.
Basketball.
Played.
Yeah, she wouldn't have had a lot of movement with the wrist if she was on the bench.
It hurt so bad, though. So people were saying last night that they've experienced this, that you should smash it. People are talking about my mom would do it and she'd smash it on the door hinge. Like, everybody has their own way of busting this up, but a lot of people are saying that they had them and the only way they ever made it permanently go away is to have surgery. I'm not opposed to that, but I'm not going to do that right now. Other people said use castor oil and rub castor oil on it.
Like the old cartoons.
And I'm like, I don't speak castor oil, so they explained it to me. And so we got castor oil, and I put some on a piece of gauze, and then I put pre-wrap over the top of it to hold the gauze in place. And it might be a mental thing, but I feel like I have movement in it right now that I did not have before. It still hurts, but before I couldn't move it.
That's good.
So,
when Chris said grab a book and take care of any cysts, I understood that to be that he was telling me to read up on ganglion cysts.
for surgery.
Yes.
Just study a little bit, like a crash course before you cut that thing open.
And then I don't know if this is real. I'm going to read this for you anyway because I care. Russell says, "Annie, I'm a doctor. You need to drink more orange juice." Isn't
Russell the same person who always talks about how he installs urinals?
I think that he has a lot of careers, which makes me question whether he's a doctor.
I do think that I've read that a deficiency of vitamin D and B12 can lead to the growth of ganglion cysts, and I have a very significant deficiency in B12.
You've been taking a lot of B11 accidentally?
It was on a discount.
That sounds like something I would do.
I know, you gave it to me for Christmas.
I know you said you needed B12, but here's B11. It's got to be close.
B11. It was a ball from a bingo game.
It was only $5.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give the results of the poll. Grade President Trump, A, B/C, D, or F. How do you feel about the man in charge? We'll find out when we come back. Don't go away.
Some with a little more red and a little more.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Little whiskey girl, my ragged on the edges, girl. Oh, but I like 'em rough.
ArtisticDecks.net. You are looking for the addition in your backyard to your home to give you that living space, and you want to be the envy of the neighborhood. Well, I have the people for you. It's Artistic Decks, and if you call them right now at 314-280-0821, 314-280-0821, you can get in line to get that deck put on your home this summer. Let me read from you an Angie's List customer review. We had our deck replaced and enlarged with an underdeck cover and a flagstone walkaway from the front with landscaping. Derek and his team did a great job replacing our original wood deck with an Aztec composite deck system. They were efficient, timely, and very professional. We had Artistic Decks create flagstone steps and a walkway with landscaping that connected our front driveway to the backyard deck and original paver patio. Derek made sure all paperwork required was complete and all inspections were approved without concern. I highly recommend Artistic Decks for your next deck project. They've been in business for over 2 decades, and they are waiting for your phone call to get you on the schedule for this summer. You will not be disappointed. The affordable deck of your dreams is a phone call away. 314-280-0821. 314-280-0821. Online at artisticdecks.net.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Spring's coming. Enjoy it. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333. USMen'sMedicalCenter.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
I haven't looked at the results of the poll yet, but people are saying that they're a little surprised by it. So I guess we'll find out what the results of this poll are in just a couple of minutes. You have time to vote in it still, though. Grade President Trump A, B/C, D, or F. It's the YouTube live chat poll. You find it by going to YouTube and typing in Annie Fry. 249. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Good Tuesday afternoon. We're getting set to go here after Fox News at 3. A big Supreme Court victory for the Trump administration on deportations. Our legal expert, one of them at least, Ilya Shapiro, is going to join us at 3:25 plus. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Liberation Day in the city of St. Louis as we hopefully boot Tish to the curb. We'll talk about it coming up.
You might been hurt, babe.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton.
Ooh,
that took a turn.
Jeez.
Let me just remind you that at the beginning, right before she said that, she said she wanted to remind people what immigrants do for this country. The implication there is that she's saying we're done picking cotton. We need immigrants.
Yeah,
it's a little dicey.
Yeah. It really falls apart the minute you start to ask a question.
Kind of like makes me feel icky to even talk about it. I don't know how to navigate this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles here. You know what's odd, though?
Don't say anything dumb.
I'm not. I'm going to tell you that, you know a lot of farmers. You grew up kind of on a farm, right? I mean, I don't know if you
I
had...
literally grew up on a farm.
Okay, I didn't know if you guys were like what kind of farm it was, but I knew you did some farming.
The farm kind.
It's a pea farm.
The farm kind. Okay, it was a pea farm.
I really got him.
You said pea. I've not seen in my lifetime farms where, and maybe this exists. That's why I'm not a farmer, but I've not seen farms where people go out and it's mostly done by harvesters. Am I wrong?
You talking about tractors?
Like combine harvesters and tractors. Like it's mostly machinery. I'm not saying that there's no farm work.
Well, that's what she said. She said they were done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other angles.
You're saying
but
that the cotton in our country could be picked by machinery and not immigrants.
I'm actually telling you that Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin, and that there's been machinery doing this stuff for a long time.
Is the cotton gin pick cotton? It just,
I don't know.
I
know that
think
fact because I remember grade school.
Why is that such a permeating?
I don't know.
Link, like, what is the deal? Everybody knows the Eli Whitney and the cotton gin, but nobody knows anything else about Eli Whitney or what a cotton gin does, apparently, because I'm pretty sure cotton gin takes cotton and turns it into
a more usable fiber.
Yes. It doesn't actually go into the fields.
That is correct. I just looked it up. 1794.
I told you not to say anything dumb.
It wasn't dumb.
It wasn't smart.
Yes, it was. There's a couple people out there that went, Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin. I didn't even know that.
Nobody said that. Everybody knows that.
No, there's a couple people. Trust
There are
me.
people who can't name the vice president of the United States, but those people know that Eli Whitney created the cotton gin. That is like the number one fact in civics is the cotton gin creator.
As somebody who grew up on a farm, am I wrong in that assessment?
Are you saying that I did or that you were someone who grew up on a farm?
You said you grew up on a farm.
I don't even know what your assessment
was. You harvested
was.
pea.
Not what the family did. You besmirch my heritage.
I'm sorry. I apologize to all of your ancestors and living relatives.
It's provable. You should. My dad's incredibly disappointed in you.
Could
Probably
he
more
ever be?
disappointed in me
Could he
in
ever
allowing
be?
that to happen. Thanks.
I thought your dad loved Ryan.
He does.
He just turned the corner on me, is what she's saying.
No.
He's not mad. He's just disappointed. Like,
All things
Ryan.
are relative. Does he still like you more than he likes me? That's the real question.
Well, let's find that out.
He's going to text me pretty soon and tell me.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, though, that the importation of illegal immigrants into this country and the constant, from the left, the progressive left, the constant argument that we need them to come here to do the jobs that Americans won't do and to make them workable in a system that pays them less than they'd have to pay Americans is you're saying you want to have people come here to do the beneath us jobs for low to no wages so that they can have status in this country? That's darn near slavery. And what I hear Congresswoman Crockett saying is, and she's black. If you're a black person, say we're done picking cotton, she's making it a race thing, which is what her traditional approach to any matter actually ends up being. It seems to me like she's saying we need people to do the jobs that they used to tell us to do. And, I'm for not requiring anybody of any immigrant status, of any skin color, of determining anybody's lot in life based on those things, and saying that there's a class of people who we could really squeeze some manual labor out of here by providing them the opportunity to be in the United States, and we could do it for less, and they'll do the jobs that we don't want to do. They'll watch our kids, they'll clean our floors, they'll mow our lawns, they'll pick our cotton. That's so racist. It's so profoundly racist and classist and gross.
These jobs suck. Let's import people to do them cheap. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
That's what you're always saying when you make that argument.
And then the left is like, hate has no home here.
Put a sign in my yard.
Yeah. You have 14 pieces of virtue signaling flair on you today, Miss Crockett. You're going to need another one. All right, the YouTube live chat poll. Are you doing it, Ryan, or Ethan, or am I?
I got it.
Go for it.
359 votes on today's YouTube live
370.
chat poll. Good work. 370 is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
We're moving on up in the world. How about that? Grade President Trump. I have 71% give it an A, 24% give it a B/C, and a combined 5% give it a D or an F.
He looks like he's doing all right. Mark Reardon is too. He's coming up next. Don't go away.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
Well, if you're like me and you enjoy wine, especially quality wine, you have to try the delicious wines from Stonehill Winery. This winery, if you've never been there, it's in Hermann, Missouri, so it's local, been around since 1847. Listen to this. Stonehill's Cross J. Norton wine beat out 235 other wines in a Missouri wine competition this year and ended up winning the Governor's Cup. Stonehill is Missouri's oldest and now most awarded winery. The winery itself, this is really cool. It has the largest series of underground vaulted cellars in North America. So what's cool is if you get a chance to go to Hermann, you can stop into Stonehill Winery and take a tour. Really cool. They do all kinds of events there, weddings. Think about how cool that would be. I got to try some of Stonehill's Ozark Hellbender the other night. It's a dry red wine, and it's fantastic. Actually, listen to the description of this wine, okay? Aromas of sweet cherry, blueberry pie smeared with a plum compote and drizzled with cinnamon sticks and toasted oat.